Hello, Orville Nation. Hello, Mountains. Hello, Tink. Hello, DJ. Hello, Troy Pacelli. How are you, my friend? Hello, LDG. Hello, Jim, and everybody who's in here. Wow.
We have a lot of people already.
Yes, we have a nice little crowd. And excuse me for 1 second, because I have done it once again.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Once again. How many times we've done this, and you guys see me do it once again. 1 second.
Oh, it's fine. I do the weather every day, and it happens.
I have an echo, so that's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Okay.
DJ, hello.
Okay, so I think we're...
Oh, wait, they can't see me, so I can wave as much as I want.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. We have an amazing, amazing guest who some of you know. Hello, Dave G. Hello, Nanette. We have an amazing guest that you all know. And first, let me introduce our wonderful panelists for the interview. Raquel, professional nerd, and so much more.
Hi.
How are you doing, Raquel?
I'm well, thank you. It's great to be here. I want to say hello to the whole chat. DJ, Troy, Adega, Lady Q, Jim. Hello, Jim. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, hello, everybody. And hello there, Max Entertainment coming in.
Hey.
And Katie, the Starfleet meteorologist, the DuckTales meteorologist, the Survivor meteorologist, the meteorologist for so many fandoms. How are you, Katie?
I am great. How are you?
Great and fantastic. And I agree with what Raquel was saying backstage. We love it when you're in your office.
Yeah, there's so much to look at. It's fantastic. I keep my my second grade weather book right next to my diploma, so they're both of equal importance. Yeah.
Oh wow.
There's little Easter eggs all in here.
And we want to welcome a friend of ours and a follower, the heart and soul of the Orville Nation.
Aww.
Peggy, how are you, Peggy?
Hi, guys. You guys are awesome today. Enjoying our weather. I was telling Katie I keep thinking of her every time I hear the weather.
Hopefully in a good way most of the time.
Not when you tell me it's going to keep snowing and raining for the next week. But other than that. But thank you guys for having me. This is going to be fun, I hope.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Oh, it's always fun.
It's always fun. And let me say hello again to DJ, to Tyrone. Hello, Tyrone. Hey, to Pflugerville. Hello, Lady Q. Hello, Max World. Guys, let me just announce, because somebody didn't know today. Some of you have still not heard that Max World Entertainment, formerly known as Axonar Comics, is now Max World Entertainment. So if you guys are a follower of Trey and Max World Entertainment, please make sure you're following him on Max World Entertainment.
Right.
So I'm going to ask, but before we introduce our guests, I want to remind everybody that those of you who have wrenches, please use them. Please post your any information you want 2, 3, 4 times during the stream. It's up to you, whatever you guys want. Okay, that's what we're all about, growing together. And don't anybody shy away from putting in your YouTube channel, your Twitter, your Instagram, your whatever. If you're looking for a date, put in your dating account site, whatever.
Get your LinkedIn account.
Oh, there you go. Let's do that.
Whatever you guys want to plug.
I like long walks on the beach and watching the Orville and sci-fi shows.
You're probably in a good group for that.
Yes. Okay, so we have an amazing, amazing guest. Now, our friend Eric has been so involved in so many things. We were with him, not too long ago, with him and his crew, cast and crew for Planetary Step, for one of the first Orville fan films. But again, one of the reasons we're interviewing Eric is that Eric is so much more. And I want to introduce Eric Moran. He is a Philadelphia native. The former United States Marine was also a professional wrestler for companies like Gorgeous Ladies of Outrageous Wrestling, Extreme Championship Wrestling, Cyberspace Wrestling, and Women's Extreme Wrestling. Eric has appeared on television shows including The Jenny Jones Show, Heavy Sedation. Eric is one of the founders of Together Brothers Production, an independent film production company based on the East Coast. He's worked as film writer, director, producer, actor with over 10 independent films and web series like The Deep End, Legacy, Trek Isolation, etc. By the way, I'm gonna be putting up his IMDb during the event, so you guys can all take a look at it. In 2014, Eric the Smoke became a household name in the world of cosplay when he hosted the Sci-Fi Channel series Heroes of Cosplay. His massive physique, cool demeanor, and confident style have led him to be a host for other panel events for celebrities. The Smoke was also included in projects highlighting in the world of comic books for Big City Comic Studios, DC Comics, as Freight Train, currently appearing in George Perez's Sirens, as well as films The Surge of Power and June, the Spawn fan film Choices, and appearing on AMC's Comic Book Men. The Smoke routinely visits schools to inspire and motivate kids, as well as participates in charity events such as the Peace Fund Games. That is amazing. And let's add
list.
Yes, and let's add to that, he's got a world championship of wrestling, which he's going to tell us all about, because that's insane that he has one of those. Welcome to Eric the Smoke Moran, our friend. Eric, welcome.
Hello.
Hey, and shout out to everyone out there who's tuning in right now to Orville Nation. Everyone, now I can't see the list of who's on there, but you know who you are. Big shout out to all you guys. Make sure, as PJ said, make sure you post your links and everything, because we want to help you guys promote yourselves and all and get it out there and everything. And it's all about sharing, being positive, and uplift everyone and inspire everyone. So shout out to all you guys for tuning in, and thank you all for the love and support. And hello to all the great hosts that are here today with me.
Aw.
Thank you.
They were fighting to be on this panel. Eric.
I know I was. We were wrestling for it, really.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Peggy put me in the headlock.
Oh, I know. I tried.
Oh my
She
God.
did.
Nerdy wrestling, I think that would be something that could pop up on Orville Nation.
It might
Peggy
be-
hit
wrestling.
the chair.
It might be a sport that Mercer can possibly do.
I got some ideas going through my head right now.
Now, I'd like to kick this off with one of my favorite pictures of Eric, because it's just so great. I just want to share with everybody.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
My Captain America. My Isaiah Bradley Captain America. Yeah, I love that.
Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
What is the shield made out of?
It's double. It's representing for double victory. This was basically based off of Isaiah Bradley, which is technically the first Captain America before Steve Rogers. There's a book that Marvel came out with back in the early 2000s called Black, Red, and Blue, and Black, Red, and White. And basically, it was about during the time when they were trying out the formula to make super soldiers, and they tried it on African American soldiers first. And Isaiah Bradley was the one that basically withstood all the tests and everything else. And he was set behind enemy lines to take on the Nazis. And he donned the shield, which was the first shield for the first Captain America. And so basically, Marvel, when Marvel was basically promoting the book here in Philadelphia, they had me come out. One of the owners of Atomic City Comics in Philadelphia asked me to come out and be the spokesperson for the new book that came out. And Joe Costado at the time, who was in charge of the project and all, he was there, who was now I think he's now head of Marvel. I came out with him and all. Now, mind you, this is the way before cosplay and Comic-Cons were coming hand in hand and being a thing. I was doing the costuming stuff way before cosplay was a thing. And so it was only natural that it kind of meshed well with me. And here I'm a big guy, former Marine and all. So it was like, oh, it was a no-brainer. Did tons of pictures. I'm going through the archives looking for pictures now. But yeah, it was one of the first ones that I did a public event in the superhero costume. So that was a lot of fun. And as years went on, I modified the costume. I've done charitable events where I went to schools and stuff like that as Captain America. I've done stuff for other events as Captain America. One of the many characters I've done throughout the years for kids and stuff. But that was one of my favorites. I still have the shield, and I always try to upgrade my Captain America suit. So it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun.
Looks fabulous.
That is incredible. How you get the weathered look on it too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have my buddy James helped me put the shield together and everything. We wanted to go off the designs of the poster. There was a poster I had where it had Isaiah Bradley holding the shield and everything. So we wanted to make sure everything was like accurate to the shield stuff. And like I said, I still own the shield.
How heavy is it?
It's heavy. It's like I would say it's resin. There's a lot of resin, cardboard, and wood.
Okay.
So this is before we start working with Eva Foam, Warbler, and everything else. So this was, like I said, I still have it in my basement, but it has weight to it. I have to have actual tactical straps that I use for my arms and all to hold it and everything. So, and also on my back and everything when I'm walking. So, like I said, it's one of my favorite costumes I've done throughout the course of all the costumes I've done throughout the years.
I work as a peace bonder at different conventions, and that would definitely be something that I would be always asking. How heavy is this? Are you able to carry this? This is.
I've had people come over. Can I hold the shield? And they're like,
no.
It's how he keeps his pipes so big. He doesn't have to bench press as much during the week.
Keeps you in good shape. It keeps you in good shape.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks like it would be good lifting material.
Yeah, this man keeps in shape.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back into the swing now that things are starting to come slowly, back. I'm hoping that the time comes when I can get back into the gym and really train. I was on a training regimen for like 3.5 months since the new year, and I was training every other day. So, and I was going all types of day, like mainly at night, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, working out in the gym with nobody there. It was all peaceful. So I was on a routine. So now I got to get back into the routine and everything else. Because like I said, I love the idea of being in good shape. I'm not, Arnold Schwarzenegger's, tone and all that, but I like staying in good shape.
I don't know. You're looking pretty good to me. You're looking pretty good to me.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
That's a great segue into my first question.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you could tell us a story from the time you were in the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask you, is this where you got your nickname, the Smoke?
Actually, no. The Smoke was years later. Actually, when I first started, when I was called the Smoke was because at the time, at the height of the beginning of The Rock's career, back in the day, like in the 90s and all, Dwayne Johnson and I had a very strong resemblance to a point that when people back in the day, when I had the sideburns and the hair and he was a little bit smaller, people were like, holy crap. And what happened was, one of the stories, basically, I went to go talk to Dwayne Johnson at a WWE show way before everybody came there. And at the time, my girlfriend at the time, she was a pro wrestler with me. So we went to go, and I remember like wrestlers and Vince McMahon and people like that were looking like your cousin or your brother or someone is here. And he came out, and I remember my girlfriend at the time was just looking at the both of us like, and we're both talking to each other. The difference is I'm 2 years older than Dwayne. And it's funny because basically he and I were just like, comparing notes, because I'm like, oh yeah, people think we're related. And he was like, oh, well, don't tell people that we're related. But I'm like, hey, our characters are in the ring. Basically what happened was a gentleman that was a pro wrestler, because at the time I was called Sergeant Profit. So I did this whole homage to Sergeant Slaughter. And at the time I had Smokey Bear. I was, geared up in tactical gear. And I was known as Sergeant Profit. eventually this other pro wrestler found a niche for me, and he was like, we're going to introduce you as the WWF Intercontinental Champion's cousin, The Smoke. And what happened was, because at the time The Rock was Intercontinental Champion, and they introduced me, and we were doing a local show up in Pennsylvania, and I will never forget, I had the shirt, I had the glasses, the eyebrows, the whole nine, and I remember coming out, and we had the same kind of, we talk alike. And so, you hear, if you smell what The Rock, and people were just like looking, and they thought I was The Rock at first. And I came out with the eyebrow and everything.
I gotta say, you guys, back in this time period, you guys look a lot alike, man.
You do.
Holy crap!
Well,
hey, can we get a close up on Eric, and can he give us his best Rock eyebrow? Can you give me that really like snarky eyebrow? Just, I gotta see it.
I'll do one better for you. Hold on. One.
Oh,
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Finally, the Smoke has come back to Philadelphia. So you want to know what it's like to be the Smoke, and why the Smoke is the #1 champion of all time in the independent circuit, all around, backwards, forwards, and around. The Smoke is here to tell you one thing. If you thought the Smoke's career was over in the wrestling career, the Smoke is back doing movies, doing TV for your neighbor, your next door neighbor's cat, and everything else in between. The Smoke is here to let everyone know he is the newest rising star in entertainment today. And if you don't know, now you know. For the Smoke.
Bravo!
Wow.
So
And that was basically it opened a lot of doors for me. And basically it got the eyes from the producers from the Jenny Jones show. And so I was doing a lot of radio appearances and everything because The Rock and I looked alike. There's like pictures of us together, like way in the beginning when he was doing stuff with the Nation of Domination and everything else. And I will never forget, at the time he and I came out at this event, and he was doing a signing, and I was doing security for his signing. And I just remember people were like, "Oh, wait, that's got to be your cousin." I'm like, "No, it's not my cousin." "Yes, it is. It's your cousin." And all this stuff. It wasn't. And then I end up doing. I end up being asked to appear at the Jenny Jones show for hot celebrity lookalikes. So you had a Michael Jackson lookalike, you had a Chris Tucker lookalike, you had a Beyonce lookalike, you had Adam Sandler lookalike. So when I came out and I did my whole thing, it blew away everyone else's appearance to a point that it was one of the highest rated episodes that season. And they asked me to come back the following year for Secret Crushes. And they had me and Ozzy Osbourne's lookalike on there. And that was a lot of fun. And it opens more doors for me because I end up being asked to appear in a independent movie called The Black Ninja, appeared in that, and it just kind of just rolled into its own thing. I will never forget two legends I had the chance to work with in my wrestling career. One was Tony Atlas, and for those who don't know, Tony Atlas was partners with Rocky Johnson, who was The Rock's father. And so I remember when I had the opportunity to wrestle against Tony Atlas, I just remember him saying, "Man, you look a lot like Dewey." And that's what, they called Dwayne when you go, "Man, you look a lot like Dewey. You talk like him too. Oh my God." And then the second time I got a chance at another show to work with the Fabulous Moolah during Dangerous Women of Wrestling. And she said the same thing. She was like, "Oh my God, you guys sound alike. You guys look alike." So it was a nice compliment. But the one thing that I will never forget, Dwayne and I had talked, he was like, the one thing is this is not going to last forever. Eventually, you have to be creative and come up with something else to reinvent. And, I was glad that he and I talked about that because, I'm glad that we both had that talk because we both, as you see, Dwayne is like one of the biggest stars now. For me, I'm pursuing my career. I took a different path because I wanted to do other things and raising my daughter at the time. So again, all these things happen for a reason. And so now the doors have opened where I'm now doing more TV. I'm doing film. I'm doing other appearances and stuff like that. So, but it's great to see him do his thing and me doing mine. But the last time I saw him was, as you see in this picture, at the red carpet event for Gridiron Gang. And I just remember congratulating him. We talked for a couple minutes and everything else. So again, but yeah. So that's how that whole, the smoke came about, the whole, and it just kind of, I just kind of ran with it. And from that point on, it just stayed with me. It stayed with me, and it opened a lot of doors, and I just stuck with that name. I just felt it was a part of who I was, and I wanted that to carry on as part of my stage name.
Eric, believe it or not, I am getting messages pitching things to you right now as we speak. So I'll have to talk to you later.
Okay. But like I said, it's been a real blessing in disguise. And then, like I said, again, I've done so much, and it's just like, again, it's just when you think about like chapters of your life, this was like a chapter. The rest of my wrestling career was a chapter of my life. It was a great time. I met great people, worked with some of the biggest names in wrestling, whether I was wrestling them, whether I was doing the show with them, or being on the same card with them. But it was an honor. It was an honor and a blessing. And I mean, growing up to wrestlers that I idolized and working on shows with them or working with them, that to me was like, oh my gosh, who ever thought? So the one thing I've learned is always be grateful for that portion of my life, that chapter of my life. And then, like I said, prior to all that, I was a model. Prior to all that, I was doing runway modeling, and I was doing a little stage theater here or there and everything else. So I was doing all these other little elements. And the funny thing is, people that went to high school with me, elementary school with me, and it was funny because my sister laughed about it recently. The fact that when everybody was like that knew me, they were like, "Yo, he was like this when he was a kid. He was wearing superhero costumes back then." If I showed you some of my pictures back in the '80s, when Miami Vice, a friend of mine, we did our cosplay of Crockett and Tubbs, and we're on our bikes, and he's wearing a white jacket, I'm wearing my gray, and I got a shotgun. And again, I was cosplaying way before the term cosplay became a thing, when it was known as costuming, or in my time back then was known, oh, he's a geek, he's a nerd, or he's kind of out there because he does all these superhero stuff. But again, I had a lot of fun. I mean, even when I was going to high school, some people were calling me 21 Jump Street because they didn't know whether or not, like, is he an undercover cop? Or he's always dressed differently. He's never always wearing the same thing. I just, like I said, I just went to the beat of my own drum. I did my own thing and didn't care what other people think. And it showed. It basically carried on with me through life.
So, Eric, out of curiosity, what was your favorite Halloween costume that you ever did then as a kid growing up?
Well, one of my favorite ones was doing Freddy Krueger. I remember
there you go.
I remember because I remember buying a glove, going on the bus, and kids were like, ah! And at that time I had the little stuff. I had this sweater that was halfway looking like Freddy Krueger, and I had this long trench coat, and I had a lot of fun doing that. That was one of my favorite times. I mean, of course, every kid in the 70s back then was Darth Vader was like the be all to end all for me. But I've done so many characters, and I dressed up in so many different outfits. So I mean, even my senior prom, I did, like, I had my mom. My mom was a fashion designer seamstress. So she basically, because we were multi-talented. We got that from our parents. My twin sister and I knew how to draw. We were both artists. So we designed our own prom outfits.
Oh,
so my mom,
I want that picture.
the Superman one.
That's a great picture.
Thank you. So like I said, again, so it's just one of those things with me that always carried on with me. And it opened so many doors. And also, like I said, during the time when I came out of the Marine Corps and getting into becoming a wrestler, I had the discipline, I had the structure because of being in the Marine Corps. So, and being physically ready to take on anything that came my way, it was new territory for me. But again, I was young, but I just had so much fun doing all the stuff I was doing.
Where were you stationed in the Marines?
I was stationed all over the place, but I mean, one of the places I basically was at Paris Island, Platoon 2105. Believe it or not, I have two older brothers who were also Marines. one who just retired, Sergeant Major Marine Corps. He's high honors, like he's basically a war hero. My oldest brother, who passed away back in the 90s and all, like I said, the three of us. So you knew my parents were really proud. There's a picture of all three of us in our. It's probably floating on the internet somewhere, but it's a picture of three of us in our dress blues at my second oldest brother's wedding and stuff. And basically, I joined the Marine Corps for a lot of different reasons. One, because of my brother. Two, because growing up, that was something I wanted to do. I wanted to be more than I can be. At the time, growing up, you had G.I. Joe, you had Full Metal, all these things that motivated me. And then, like I said, having my two other brothers in, this was something that I wanted to be a part of with them, because it's a brotherhood, it's a fraternity within itself. And so, one of my major accomplishments was getting through boot camp. But the one thing I've learned when I was in Marine Corps, especially in boot camp and all, you learn to appreciate family, you learn to appreciate the people around you, and not take things for granted. And so, like I said, I've had my ups and downs while serving, but all in all, like I said, again, it was a learning experience. It helped me become the man I am today. It helped me become a better person all around. So, like I said, again, it has its ups and downs. I'm not even going to act like everything was peachy. That part I won't get into, but all in all, it was an experience. I would tell anyone that who doesn't go to college and all, if you want to get a chance to see the world, because there's a lot of people out there that have joined the service that never met other people of different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different religions, different thought processes. So here you're under one roof and you have to work together. So that's a great way for you to understand other people's backgrounds and cultures and stuff.
I grew up overseas. My dad's State Department, so I grew up around all the military and Marines, and it was funny because I can usually walk into a room and go, you used to be a military, you're Army, you're Navy. And when we did the interview the other day, I almost asked you the question if you were in the Corps. So there's a stance that people in the Army and the Navy and the Marines have, that you just go, oh, you've traveled, you've seen the world. And I think a lot of people who enjoy sci-fi or comic books have that relation of wanting to know outside of their own country and outside. And so I usually ask my Marine friends if they're Batman or Superman. I'm gonna say Superman just on the pictures.
Well, you haven't seen on my Batman. I've done 6 or 7 different Batman costumes.
Oh, okay.
You didn't pop that up yet. I've done maybe 4 different Supermans, but I've always been an avid. I love Superman because of what he stood for, and also because he believes in a better tomorrow, where Batman was just no powers, but his determination and his drive to make his city a better city, because he had, the loss of his parents and everything, and the fact that he had that determined drive. So, and then also he had the coolest gadgets and the coolest gadgets.
I'm sorry, those great toys.
So for me, doing Batman costumes, oh my gosh, if you can see the collage, I've done 8 to 9 different Batmans. I did when they had the Batman versus Superman premiere in New York, and I went to New York dressed as armored Batman, and I will never forget, the people at ABC were like, we got to get him in the middle. We need this, we need him in the middle. And Ben Affleck comes out and he's looking and he's like, oh my gosh. So, and there's a picture of me right there in the center with my wife, and you have Ben Affleck right there and stuff. So again, that was a very cool moment. So like I said, again, Batman, even though I like certain things about Superman, Batman's my go-to. Batman's always my go-to.
Nice.
Well, Raquel, go ahead. Or Katie, go ahead.
Actually, I think it's Katie. Katie's waiting to ask a question.
Go ahead, Katie.
I was wondering, you had mentioned your brothers, but backstage before the podcast started, you mentioned you have a twin sister, which, I mean, that's practically a superpower right there, but you're both geeky.
Oh, yeah, we were like calling ourselves the Wonder Twins for a long time and all. My twin sister and I, we have certain similarities. Of course, we're also opposites of the coin, but no, one of the things about my twin sister, I admire her so much because, again, in a house full of boys, she was very hardcore. We always used to joke that we thought that if she joined the Marine Corps, she was going to be the officer because we were all, and I was like, yeah, we could see her being an officer. Oh my God, and everything else. But no, my twin sister, she worked for Marvel. She was anchor and colors for Marvel Comics, and she was amazing. She's an amazing artist. She doesn't do it as much because she's doing the family thing now, but she was an amazing artist. She was a model and everything else. But at the time when she was working with Marvel, because she had that look and everything else, they had her on the cover of Nomad, which was a spinoff of Captain America, which was like the Adventures of Bucky at that time, and he was called Nomad. And she's on the cover of issue number 2. 10 years later, I'm on the cover of a comic book called Tempest. It was my first time ever on the comic book cover. And so I always talk about that, like, hey, me and my twin sister were both on comic book covers in 2 different decades and all. But yeah. So, but it was very cool. And it's funny now because when I've done appearances at Comic-Cons and worked at Comic-Cons, certain artists that I'm very cool with didn't know that who my twin sister was. And when I mentioned it or it was talked out in passing, they were like, Erica's your twin? Holy crap, I knew her. I worked with her in Marvel and all this stuff. So that was cool because I was like, an artist that I really either grew up on or appreciated, then I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know. What? Really? And people are like, oh my God. So she'll come to a con now and then. And I'm like, yo, so-and-so want to see you and all. So, but she's very, very cool. Like there's certain things about me where she's the opposite of, and there's certain things about her that I'm the opposite of. But all in all, like I said again, when we're together, it's like, yeah, we're the Wonder Twins, and we even got puppets made as us as Wonder Twins and all. So
okay, so your next show is going to be about puppets, right? You're going to have puppets in your next fan fiction.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that another time, but yeah, something like that. Something like that.
So this show is about women because this is Power Women Wednesday. So I wanted to ask you, what was it like working for the gorgeous ladies of Outrageous Wrestling and Women's Extreme Wrestling? Can you explain your role and what it was like to work with a bunch of powerful women, power women, and not just Wednesday, every day, Eric?
Well, at the time, my girlfriend at the time, she was a bodybuilder and she was known as Lady Storm. So she and I wrestled together as partners. Here I'm this big guy. She was very petite, but she was sound. She had a presence about her. So I was like the mouthpiece and she would be like this and everything and throwing people around and all. It was a unique combination. And it was like we were known as Storm and Smoke. But during that time, I got a chance to work with a lot of awesome women. I was the commissioner on the show. So picture the WWF back in the day, or ECW, but nothing but women, and you had a few guys on the show. I was one of those guys on the show. I was a cross between an anti-rock and Vince McMahon. I was the guy that was talking crap to them, but then getting the hell beat out of me, body slaying women in the ring. And that was the thing. I didn't care because, back then, people were like, oh, you're getting your butt kicked by women. And I would fight them back and I would wrestle them and all. And it didn't matter the size, shape, or height, or color, or anything. I didn't discriminate in the ring. I was like, everyone, I'm an equal opportunity ass kicker in the ring. Everyone was fair game. So,
that on your business card.
I had some matches. Alexis Lurie, who's now known as Mickey Jane, we had some of our best matches back then before she went to the WWE. And it was great. During that time, again, I was young, so I had so much fun with them. And it was a learning experience also. It was a learning experience, but because I grew up in a household where I had a strong mother, strong female mother, strong, twin sister, so the women in my family, and mainly all the women, my aunts, my grandmother, they were strong women in my family. So that was the thing where I grew up around that. Even though I had my father there in the house and he provided and he made sure we were taken care of. For him and my mom was like, she was the enforcer. My dad was like, okay, whatever your mother says. So for me, it was like a thing, but I've learned so much. I mean, growing up, to make sure you always hold the door, you always walk on the opposite side of the street, you always pull out a chair. I was kind of looked crazy. People when I was going through my dating phase, I remember women would look at me like I'm crazy, like, wait a second, oh my God, I had a problem with him. What kind of problem did you have? He had the nerve to pull out a chair for me. He had the nerve to open the door. And I was like, and I would blow my mind. I was laughing because I would talk to my mom about it and be like, you know, why is it that? And she was just explaining that they're not used, certain women are not used to gentlemen opening the door, pulling out a chair. And eventually that came to head and all. And I mean, I wouldn't be with my wife today. I wouldn't have the person who I have in my life, who was my wife today, and the kind of person she is, if I had changed up, being the kind of person I was growing up, you know, seeing how my mom and my twin sister was treated, I always go back to the idea, you know, you always think about your mom, you think about the women in your family, how they, you know, were treated, and you want to treat them, you will want someone to treat them the same way. So like with my wife, I treat her that way that my mom would be treated, or my sister would be treated, respect and everything else. So, you know, again, it's one of those things with me. I mean, again, I come from, with me having a twin sister, it makes it even balanced because, again, I have a twin sister. I'm strong in certain areas where she's strong in certain areas. Where I'm strong at, or I'm not so strong at, she's strong at. Where I'm like stronger at, and we balance off each other. So I've learned to be able to balance out, hey, you know, there are women out there that can do anything that men can do. And I always had that mentality. I'm like, hey, if you can get in the ring and beat up a dude, then hey, the guy should have no problem fighting you back and all.
Eric,
again, I always believe in that. You know, some people are like, well, you know, they came from, the one thing I have to understand, and yet people have to understand that if you didn't come up in that kind of environment where it was equal household, and you came up in an environment where the male was the dominating factor, where the woman wasn't, and you grew up on that, and you come out into the real world, and this is how you look at, you know, women and all, that's the mentality. And that's the thing where right now people are like, well, you know, oh, women shouldn't do this, and women shouldn't do that. I just feel that if you can do the job, then do the job, without having to heighten the fact that it's a woman thing. We talked about this in the Doctor Who thing when I said, you know, it doesn't have to be the first female doctor. It's just, hey, we have a new doctor. Again, I look at the idea of, and even when it comes to color and everything else, just come out, be the best that you can be, whether you're color, gender, size, shape, doesn't matter. Do the job and everything else. When it comes to overall people, I try to take them as they come. It's more about your character. I don't care about your color, don't care about your size, don't care about whether you're a male, female, or gay or straight. It's about your character. And that's what it comes down to, is about your character. So again, that's my mentality. Not everyone has that same mentality. And hey, that's their prerogative. But for my mentality, because the way I was brought up where I don't judge a person by appearance, I judge them by their character. And that's the most important thing.
Judge not.
These ladies, thank you so much for sharing that. I just wanted a follow-up question. The gorgeous ladies of Outrageous Wrestling and Women's Extreme Wrestling, I noticed that a lot of the promo has glow in it. I wanted to ask you in front of the chat, was this the impetus for that Netflix award-winning series Glow? Was this like telling the story of these ladies? And if so, how come you weren't in it?
Well, here's the thing. At that time, when we were originally called Glow, we were off the heels of the original Glow. But because at the time, the owners at the time called it GLOOW. And so it was basically, we were like the next generation at that time. And we were known as the gorgeous ladies of Outrageous Wrestling. And then eventually they decided to change it up and call the Dangerous Women of Wrestling. And so because we were here in Philadelphia, we were the female equivalent. The show was the female equivalent to ECW, which was a very big show here on the East Coast, especially in Philadelphia. So it was hardcore wrestling. We were like women of hardcore wrestling, basically, with guys trickled in, getting their butts kicked like myself and all. But it was entertaining. People liked it. We were one of the highest rated shows on that channel at the time, the syndication channel, here in Channel 48 here in Philadelphia. So we had a lot of fun doing that. But yeah, like I said, in the beginning, it was off the idea from Glow, from the original Glow, but eventually they wanted to change it and become something new, something different, one step beyond Glow. We were going to be that organization that stood out differently. And that basically, believe it or not, Dangerous Women of Wrestling set the trend for what you see in the WWE now. You had the women's champions, women's wrestling within WWE. That came off the heels of what we did and what Glow did. So people always talk about, well, you know, the divas and all. Well, we were the ones that started that with Glow. With Glow, then came us, then came the divas and everything for WWE and all.
Yeah. Oh, terrific. I just want to tell you, I think it's so cool that you were involved with all of that, and that now we've got Glow on Netflix and it's this mega massive hit. And here you are, you know, when my mother was a musician here in Canada, and she actually dated a Stampede wrestler for a few years. And so I didn't get involved with it when I was young, but when I look at Bret the Hitman Hart and all of these people, you know, you were the same thing for this ladies wrestling. You were there in the dungeon, only it was Glow, and now it's this massive thing. So I just had to make sure that I told the chat to just give you the mega props, baby. Mega props.
But you know what? Also, because I didn't have a problem wrestling women, I didn't have an issue, because certain guys in the business had issues with it. No, I was one of those guys that didn't. Hey, look, there's no such thing as bad entertainment. There's no such thing as, oh, well, you know, I want to go in and just have some fun and at the same time be entertaining. I mean, open the doors for me to come to cyberspace wrestling, and then NWA cyberspace again, or should I say NWA Shockwave. So again, I got a chance to work across the board with all different types of wrestlers from all different types of backgrounds, male and female. So I consider myself fortunate to be, you know, able to be a part of that and also to experience it.
Yeah. And let's just be clear,
baby. Mega props, baby.
Let's just be clear that Eric was doing his role very professionally at all times.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure.
And I'm very aware of who else he was. I'm sure you were very aware of people you were wrestling with and their safety as well.
Oh, they're trained like acrobats, like you would not believe the acrobatic training that goes on. I can definitely tell you this man aches exactly like a principal dancer in the ballet. This person knows choreography. He knows how to keep people safe. He knows how to keep people entertained, but you know, it still is very wearing on the body. You know, my daughter can attest to that.
Yeah, and the thing is important is, like you said, safety was everything. And there's things that happen in the ring, even for myself, you know, where I might have made a mistake, and we had to do our best to keep it, you know, keep the show going no matter what. And you know, when I look back on it, I'm like, wow, okay, I could have done that better. But you always, like again, when I was coming up, as I got older, I could start critiquing myself. So now that I'll look at things and I'm like, well, I could have done that a little bit differently. Or I could have done that better. Hey, what if I did this? And you know, but again, you want to do and be the best you can.
Yeah.
And you learn from that, and you learn. So that was another thing. It was a learning experience. It was a learning experience, for better or for worse.
Also massive, so it's not so easy for such a large man to move around. You and The Rock are both massive people in real life. In real life, you're a tower, you're a skyscraper, and so moving around and being lithe isn't exactly easy, is it?
No, and like you said, as you get older, the one thing is I try to maintain. And like I said, again, you know, and it's funny because, like I said, I've gone through different periods of weight. Like I'll gain weight and I'll lose weight. I'll gain weight and I'll lose weight. I'll tone up, and then, like, you know, I'll hit a not slump, but I'll go through a moment where I'm like, okay, I need to get back in the gym. And I'm very aware of that because I don't smoke, I don't drink really. So I try to be, you know, just cautious of what I eat and what I do and stuff. Even more so now.
Lost you.
To maintain and everything else. So it's like I said again, and I don't walk on water. I make my mistakes and I'm not perfect, but again, it's one of those things that you learn as you go. But like I said, I had a good, you know, chapters in my life where it helped me structure myself when I gotten older. So I'm like, okay, I know not to do this. I know not to take that. I know not to do this. So it's one of those things for me.
Yeah.
Eric, I wanna just address this question because I think it's important. If I don't know if you can see it, it's about can people show that little a bit of the Eisenberg in their YouTube content? Should they contact you?
I don't have no problem. As long as they're promoting the our show, I have no problem with that. Especially the fact that if it's helping to get the word out more, we got a couple more surprises, and this is the first design. That was the first design of the Eisenberg. So we're doing some modifications. Jace, who is our FX designer of the Eisenberg, we were talking about that the other day, and we were like, we're making modifications and all because as we talk later on in the interview, we're making some changes to really stand out within the Orville universe. So we'll definitely talk more about that. But I have no problem with that.
Yeah, basically they're reviewing. They're probably just creating YouTube content and mentioning your film. So it's promotional.
Definitely. Yeah, most definitely. As long as they send me the link, this way I can tell people to tune into them. Yeah,
if you guys are going to do that, just drop him a DM with the link, or tag him to a post or whatever. Let Eric know that you've done it, or
Always cite your source. That's just basically the best rule.
This way I can give you guys a good shout out and everything else. And like you said, it's a nice little thing where we all help out each other and we all promote each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Circle of life and helping each other.
Exactly.
Eric, you want to tell us about this picture real quick?
Yes. Okay, this picture right here. We're in 2000, I think latter part of 2018 going into 2019. I appeared on Comic Book Men as Darkseid. Darkseid was created by Jack Kirby. They had 100. They're celebrating the birthday of Jack Kirby, who turned 100 at that time. So they did a big episode in tribute to Jack Kirby. The two people in front that are holding the Jack Kirby shield is his grandkids. And so they had some of us who were dressed up as characters of Jack Kirby's creations to appear. They asked me to appear, and I was like, "Oh, I'm all for it." And all. We had so much fun that day on set and all, and it was just a lot of fun. I enjoyed, and I knew the guys from Comic Book Men for the last couple of years. I've done other appearances with them at Comic Cons and everything. So being there, being able to appear on Comic Book Men as Darkseid, that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that.
Wow. That's Go ahead, Raquel. Did you
I think Katie, do you have a question?
Well, I had a question about fan films, because you mentioned you have one for the Orville. How did you get into fan film, and how, if someone's interested, like myself, do they get into fan film?
Thank you.
This is good. That's a good question. I've done well over 25 fan films, not including the fan films that I've joined with other people and been a part of their fan films as well. What happened was the way how my production company, Together Brothers, started was with a gentleman by the name of Brian Gregory, who's one of my partners in crime. And what happened was Brian came over to my house. I was inspired by two fan films that came out at that time. And at the time, it was a Batman fan film by Sandy Carolla. And that was one of and it was Batman taking on the Predator. And I just remember being so inspired by that. And there was a couple other fan films that I watched that I was like, you know what? I really want to be able to tell my own story. So Brian comes over to my house, and we were hanging out for the first time. And Brian was like, yeah, me and my buddies, we talked about doing a film, and we always talked about just having one, but it never got off the ground. So then I turned around and was like, Brian, let's do a fan film. And he was like, are you serious? I said, yeah. So basically we did, back in 2008, we did our first fan film, which was Clash in the Night. And it was basically Batman versus Black Adam. Mind you, this is way, way before Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was talking about doing Black Adam. I was cosplaying as Black Adam and everything else. and everything. But it was great. You know, I love the fact that Dwayne is going to be Black Adam. But at that time, we did a fan film called Clash in the Night, and we shot it at my buddy's house in his basement because he had this large-size mansion-style basement. We shot it in his basement. We went downtown, shot on this high-rise in Center City for Batman jumping off a rooftop and everything. And it was like maybe a 7-8 minute short, and it was real good. It was the first time we had fun. We talked about doing a reboot to that very first one we did, but we had so much fun doing it. And I worked with James Panetta of Izuku Films, and basically James sat down. I remember going over his house late at night, and we were working in post, and I started getting the bug to want to do more films. And from that point on, I was like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. And this is the beginning. This is during the time when internet was still in its infancy. So, you know, before everyone and their mother was doing fan films. And so I just had a lot of fun doing it. And the next thing you know, I'm doing 5, 6, 7. I did everything from Doctor Who to Judge Dredd to Spawn to Batman to a Justice League and I'm like, wow, I did even a Predator one. And I'm like, wow, I'm doing it. And because I was inspired by filmmakers like Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino, and having the opportunity to meet like Robert Rodriguez, for example, when I met him during the time I had just done my Predator film, The Heist, and I just remember meeting him. I was like, dude, I did a film that was dedicated to you and all. And again, we were just having so much fun working with Brian Terranova, who was on the Whoverse thing with you guys. Who's also one of my head writers for Planetary Step. We did a Doctor Who series called Legacy, which basically had so much, like, the fandom was amazing. When we had Doctor Who conventions, we had a standing room only. It was so amazing. Wow. It was really breathtaking. So the fact that we basically, when I did my Trek Isolation fan film, we had Stan Lee appear in our fan film. Was the only time Stan Lee ever appeared in anything related to Star Trek, fan film, live action, or whatever. So I was fortunate enough to get some strings pulled to have him featured in our fan film. At the time we were supposed to premiere the film in Atlantic City. I remember talking about the story before, and at the time Stan was supposed to be there, but he couldn't make it. And because we were supposed to premiere it during the time when Kevin Smith had his he had a panel going on. The owners asked, "Hey, Kevin, can we stop it and have this fan film being shown to your audience? Stan Lee's in it and everything else." And Kevin was gracious enough to let his audience, his fans, watch Trek Isolation, the first episode featuring Stan Lee. And so that was really, we have that on tape. We have it on tape. And Kevin was real gracious. I'm always been appreciative of Kevin Smith doing that for us. And so again, it's one of those things that we've done so many films, and then like the one I did before I did the Orville fan film was Choices, which was my Spawn fan film, which was in the celebration of HBO's 20th anniversary for Spawn, the animated series. We had Todd McFarlane. We basically did this thing. Todd McFarlane supported us. Michael J. White, who played as the live action Spawn. We had John Leguizamo showing love and support. And basically we had pictures and everything. We were able to premiere it in Times Square for Urban Action Expo in New York City and on the big screen. So to see all that work put together, it was really something. And working with so many talented people, it really spoke in volumes that have come a long way. And I'm still growing. And then the team that I have for Together Brothers was a bunch of people who were fans, who were cosplayers, who were basically people that were actors, writers, producers. And we just basically got together under one roof and decided to like, hey, let's do some fan films. And everybody had life things going on, but I still ran with the ball with Together Brothers. And as far as I'm concerned, these guys are still are what the reason why Together Brothers is still doing their films, we are doing our films. And so to be able to do the Orville Planetary Step fan series really was like my top of the hill, one of the things I want to do. The next thing I probably want to do is a Star Wars thing, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm so focused on doing this series right now. That's all I have on my mind.
Let me just say, it's crazy that you're on a movie poster with Stan Lee. That's
That's
Yeah.
Let me tell you right now. First of all, I got to give a shout out to Chris Cross. Chris Cross is a legendary artist from Marvel DC. He was part of the milestone era for DC Comics. He was one of the head artists for Milestone Comics. He's a legend. I'm good friends with him. Basically, he was nice enough to do some of my posters, including the Orville Planetary Step poster. With Trek Isolation, when we put the poster together, I remember us giving it to Stan, and Stan gave a seal of approval. He basically, during the time when he was alive, Stan had these little stickers, which was basically his seal of approval. So during the time, he signed a whole bunch of posters with seal of approval. I have one of those posters on my wall with his signature on there, and it's Stan Lee authentic was an authentication of Stan Lee's approval. And so to be able to be on a poster with him, yes, it is epic. It is very
So
let's take a pause here to consider what Eric just said. Stan Lee put an approval sticker on work that he was involved with. How truly epic is that? I mean, usually that's like major hyperbole, but yeah. I'm comfortable with using epic in this context.
I remember when I first met him, I was introduced to him. I was a loss for words. I remember, and I was at we were doing a show, and I was introduced, and I was wearing this big costume, a Galactus costume. It was a box costume, like a Lego style costume. My wife was with me, and I will never forget it. I was introducing, and I'm like, I was a loss for words. And it was funny because my buddy he said, "Come here, shake his hand," and Stan thought it was funny. He was really cool about it and all. He did, because he understood. I was just very like, oh my God. I'm like, it's Stan Lee. What? And I don't often get starstruck because I understand that, hey, we're all in the business. But there are certain people that I've met that have either admired or just was blown back or inspired to do what I'm doing now. So Stan was one of those people, and I'm like, okay, he was the guy that I would hear growing up as a kid when I would watch Spider-Man and Amazing Friends, and hey everybody, this is Stan Lee. So I'm like, oh my God, I can say I met him. I can say, oh my God, how many people can say that? So
and thank you, Lady Q. Lady Q's put up a link to the film with Stan Lee on YouTube, guys.
Yeah,
thank you, Lady Q.
No, such a nice guy. That guy, very cool.
Oh my gosh,
one of the people I wish I could have met.
I did get to meet him once, and I won't forget it. It's one of those that's one of those guys that you just meet and you go, I got to meet him. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it was for 5 seconds, my daughter fist bumped at him. It was great. It was one of those, and I have a picture of him, and every time I show the picture, people always take like a moment of silence. It's just one of those. That's Stan Lee. Oh.
Yep.
Moment of silence, and then it's like, okay, now we continue. So
is this a Power Ranger, Eric?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I am one of the founders of the Philadelphia Power Rangers, so I'm known as the Philly Black Ranger. So we have a crew of different Power Rangers and all. We basically done appearances with the original cast. When I was on tour for Wizard World, I worked alongside with Jason David Frank, who played as the Green Ranger. My mind is all over the place right now. We had a lot of fun on tour and stuff. But yeah, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of the or appear with a lot of the cast of the Power Rangers. So, and all of them are cool.
They're amazing people. All of them show up and they're cool.
Oh yeah.
Jason actually, sadly, is one of the reasons that before even COVID, conventions were being kind of more security hyped. It's because of Jason. So it's one of those guys where, I mean, he was out there and he was so brave to just go back into it. Like, nope, I'm still on the floor. You're not going to stop me. So
yeah. Jason's always been like that.
Yeah. Oh, I think I've met the 2 reds, the green, the pink, the golden, and one of the blues, and Jason.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, with your costumes, do you make them yourself?
There are some that I had done from my own hands. I've been blessed to work with a lot of great different people. Some people have made certain parts of my costumes. Others have helped me make armor suits. Some stuff I've done from scratch. Some stuff that I'll have a company like Nightmare Armor Studios have known for their armor suits.
Ooh,
They'll send me the base.
looking hot.
I love that.
Look at this, ladies.
Why aren't you on
Oh,
Daredevil as
Everybody. You know what? Believe it or not, that's one of my. Believe it or not, out of all the costumes I've done, and I've done so many, this is one of the easiest cosplays I've ever done, but have gotten the most viral. I mean, I've gotten other costumes. That's one of my more recent ones that everyone is like, "Oh my God, you're perfect! Oh my God, you should." And I'm like, "Yeah." And I sent it to D'Onofrio. I remember sending this to him, and people over in Marvel were like, "Oh my God, yeah." So I mean, again, yeah. I was
because you see that and you're like Daredevil right off the bat. Why are you in it?
Hot, smoking hot, ridiculously hot, smoking hot.
Thank you. I was inspired by Vincent D'Onofrio's performance from Daredevil, and I wanted to bring that to life. So, again, he was a strong influence of why I did that character.
that's awesome.
So you were on the Sci-Fi Channel series Heroes of Cosplay. That's actually blocked from Canada, so I don't get to see it. I tried to watch the different trailers for the shows on YouTube, but I'm blocked from them, which makes me quite sad because, as you know, I'm also a cosplayer. So I just wanted to ask, because I know Katie would be dying to ask you this, and I know a lot of cosplayers would be dying to ask you this. How did you get that gig? How did you get the gig doing this amazing sci-fi series? And your role was just so important. You're the king of cosplay, baby. Tell us the story.
Yeah, I like to call myself the Godfather of cosplay. But no, basically what happened was in the first part of the season of Heroes of Cosplay, I was approached of being one of the actual contestants on the show. But because at the time it created so much controversy, and at the time, I was like, well, look, if you're going to have me on the show, I really want to be myself. I don't want anything scripted because it was considered like, partly reality. And I wanted to be myself. I wasn't, again, I'm being me because people in the cosplay community know my personality. They know the kind of cosplayer I am. And I did not want to fake it. I did not want to be phony. And at the time, it was being considered. But then I got approached because I was also hosting cosplay contests for Wizard World at the time when I was on tour with them. So I was asked through the producers and everything, would I like to host some of the episodes of Heroes of Cosplay? Are you kidding? Yeah. And so basically I got to be not only myself, but I got to be who I am every day without being scripted or anything, and had the crowd riled up and everything else. I've done like some of the episodes and all where I'm hosting the cosplay contest, and myself and Yaya Han co-hosting together and stuff like that. So, and this is like maybe the latter part of Heroes of Cosplay, like the other half of the season, because some people are saying it's season 2, some people are saying season 1.5. It's basically, to me, it's all one season, but those last couple episodes I ended up being host, and so I had a lot of fun doing that. Had a lot of fun being engaging with the crowd. The only thing that was happening a lot as the producers, were talking to me and everything else, my thing in my ear kept coming out, and I kept on. You'll see when you see the video, you see me doing this a lot because the thing was always popping out my ear because I was sweating, and I'm like, I'm trying to make sure I hear and make sure I'm like timing everything right. Get the audience geared up and everything. So it was a lot of fun. I had a way of, because of my wrestling and everything, I had a way of using psychology onto the crowd to get them mentally riled up. So when a contestant comes out, I get them, and they were like, oh my God, we never heard the room, and it was great. I had so much fun doing that.
Well, I hope they make it legal for Canada soon. Like,
VPN.
It's on Amazon.
Is it on Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Is that Prime?
I bought it on Amazon Prime. Yep, I have it on Amazon Prime.
Oh, so there you are, chat. All of our Canadians, you can get it on Amazon Prime. I will definitely be checking that out.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about this picture, Eric?
Yes. Okay, my buddy, John Wesley Ship. Okay. Basically, I've done this is at Great Philadelphia Comic Con. I'm one of the directors for cosplay and a couple other things I do for Great Philadelphia Comic Con. I host to a lot of different celebrities, QA panels, and everything else. One of my biggest highlights that I enjoy, and every time when I'm doing a show or anything else, is working with John Wesley Shipp, because I have such a blast working with him, hosting to him, and he makes it a point to be like, hey, if we're doing the show together, I gotta have Smoke host, and we have so much fun. But that's my wife right there. So he loves my wife to death. He loves me to death, and we just have so much fun. This is one of his panels. This is right after we did his QA panel and everything else. And John is so generous to the audience. He is so great with the audience. And I basically throw questions his way, and he talks and tells the audience about the stories of what happened throughout his career. And it's so much fun. And we basically are good friends, but John is just a great guy overall. Not only that, because he's the Flash, which was like one of my favorite shows back in the 90s, but he's an amazing actor, from the soaps to doing films and all. So again, to be able to like work with him and everything, again, that's one of those things that if you told me 20 years ago I'd be working with him or hosting to him or hosting his QA panels, I'd be like, nah, get out of here. No. So again, it's just a lot of fun. I have so much fun doing that.
So tell us about your work with kids and your participation in the Peace Fund games, because I went and looked it up on Facebook, and I can't believe how many famous people, especially from the sci-fi community, are involved with this project. So you're doing a lot more than just visiting schools or hospitals or doing whatever it is you do when you reach out to young people. There is a whole website for this charity, and this is really cool. I think there's paintball involved. Can you please tell us about a little bit about your charity work? Because you take from the community, but you also give, and not just cosplay, but to great charitable organizations. Can you talk a bit about that, Eric?
So I'm gonna for Peace Fund Games, I did some years back with Adrian Paul. Adrian Paul has up the Peace Fund Games, which basically nonprofit, basically helps a lot of children across the world and everything. And at the time, we were doing the event for paintballs, raising money, and out in California, I was his lieutenant. Basically, we did everything that we could do to promote. It was a star-studded event. Since I was one of the celebrities there, we had so much fun. And from there, I kind of expanded. Here in Philadelphia, we've done charity work with the Philadelphia Avengers. In part, like I said, one of the founders of the Philadelphia Avengers, Lady J Cosplay, who's one of our head founders. She heads up a lot of stuff where we come out, we raise money for charitable events for everything you can imagine, for children's hospitals and the sort, and basically we give back to the community. My thing is and also for me, like my wife, who's a school teacher, I've gone to her school to spoke to kids for inspiring them to stay focused on their schoolwork, to basically follow their dreams and not give up, even when the times they feel that they can't do it and all. I've done also stuff where we've had events for immigration events for children who are becoming American citizens, where I've had the Philadelphia Avengers or myself, where we basically came out, welcomed the kids to America in different characters. I've been Maui for the kids from Mulan, basically from being War Machine, Bring Your Kids to Work Day, and everything else. Now, I can't get into what I do during my day job, but it's in the government kind of way. But
that's okay.
Bring Your Kids to Work Day and stuff like that. So these kind of things that I do, I believe in the idea that kids are very influenced by their heroes and what they see and stuff. I was fortunate enough to have heroes growing up with not just my parents, but those characters like Superman, like Batman and all. So, but I didn't have people that were dressed up like superheroes come over, shake my hand. They were either pro wrestlers or of the sort and everything else. So to be able to do that for kids, and I remember as a pro wrestler, I remember when I was doing appearances for kids at schools and everything, as the Smoke, the pro wrestling side of my career. And I remember I had this one young man who came up to me, and he's now At that time, he was 18 when I saw him last. He remembered me coming up to school when he was like 7. And he said, man, I remember the autograph you gave me. I still have it in my room. I'm now going to college and everything else. You know what that means to me to hear someone say that to me, that they have my picture and I was one of his influence. And to see him grown now, he's like together. And again, that's the payback for me. The payback for me is seeing stuff like that.
Yeah.
To be an inspiration and to see a young man being influenced by something positive and carry on that positivity by doing something for his life and his career, and to pass that on to the next generation, to the next kid.
Well, last time we were on a panel together, I made a point of saying to everyone how much I respect you, not only your body of work, but the man you are. You and your wife are just great people. So I wanted to make sure that I touched upon that so that everyone could understand where that came from. You have used your fame well, and you've also used it for the good, for your community. I respect you not only as an actor and a director and a producer, but also as a man and as a husband and a father. You should be very proud. I love this work that you're doing. You represent our community in such wonderful ways. Just to you and your wife, keep going, because you know what? The world needs this love and the world needs this leadership. Can't say enough about it.
What grade does your wife teach?
She teaches 3rd. Sometimes she'll teach 4th. But right now, I think she's teaching 3rd right now. Or is it 4th?
Oh.
I think 4th right.
Okay.
Because of everything that's going on, everything that's been going on right now, I kind of forgot because last year she was teaching 3rd, but now I think she's teaching 4th. And yes, she does dress up in superhero costumes with me and everything, because I wouldn't have it any other way. I would not have it any other way.
I was going to ask.
That was a requirement when I met whoever I met, and it's a long story, but I kind of met her through Star Trek. Yeah. So that's and it's the most unlikely person I ever thought I would meet her through, and it's a great story that I talk about a lot and all. But yeah, it's my wife is something. She puts up with me, so she's the ultimate superhero because she could put up with me.
I was going to say she puts up with you and 3rd graders. So there you go.
And
for the people that know, they know.
And our teachers are needing all our support right now that they can. Does she also are they in touch with their students right now, like by doing reading over Zoom or anything like that?
I know she's been doing like when she has her meetings and all. I know when she does her stuff, it's all a combination of different things. You know, whether it's talking to the parents, talking to some of the kids, and all. So she's in that mode, because when she's in the focused teacher mode, I'm like, okay, honey, I'm gonna let you go, because she gives me that certain courtesy and respect when I'm doing my stuff at work and I'm on the computer and all. And it's like, okay, that's one of the things I like about it, because we're not always up under each other 24/7 and all. We have that time where we're doing our own thing and everything else, no insecurities or anything. We just got our own stuff going on. But at the same time, when we hang out and we spend time together or whatever, it's awesome, because it's like, okay, we can put our troubles aside and have some fun and what have you. And like I said, she could put up with me. She deserves it. And she's probably watching this right now. I don't know if she is or not. She's probably watching this right now, cracking up like, yeah.
Guys, I want to just we have to stop for a sec because we have super chats now.
Hey,
believe it or not. And I want to give a special shout out to Trey, formerly known as Trey from Action Art Comics. If anybody hasn't gotten that message, and he says, great interview with Eric the Smoke Moran.
Thank you.
And panel.
Congratulations, PJ.
Thank you. And the panel. And listen, actually, this brings up something I wanted to ask you, Eric. What's the 007 there?
007?
Yeah.
I'm a big James Bond fan.
I was going to say the man scream. I mean,
want to have James 007 as their tag. I grew up on Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, all the Bonds, and again, who wouldn't? There's a friend of mine right now, and I'm going to give him a shout out, David Zarinsky, the Bond Experience. If you guys haven't checked it out, I want to try to get him on your show too. But David, right now, he is the quintessential person when it comes to anything Bond. You check out his YouTube channel, The Bond Experience. You'll find out everything from suits to gadgets and all. He has a museum style. He is the quintessential Bond authority. And he has other people within the Bond community and everything else. I have to give him a shout out because, again, I know he's envious when I have, like, yes, the Smoke 007. But again, I can't tell you enough. Again, but I'm a big James Bond fan. So yeah, I even worked on a little James Bond script fan film thing I'm working on.
I was going to say, is that our next?
Actually, it was something that I was going to do. Was, you know what? It's actually something I was going to do before Orville fan film. For Planetary Step. But at the time, it was just certain variables, and at the time, I didn't have the resources to do certain things I wanted to do. So I was like, okay, the script is done. I have this sitting over here. I have maybe 4 or 5 different scripts for different projects. So I have this sitting on the side, like, okay, I'll get back to that. I'll at least know that I have this in waiting. So that's something I plan on, like I said, along with my Star Wars one, that's something I plan on revisiting.
Can you tell us if you're going to be a villain or if you're going to be on the 007 side?
I can't talk about that. That'd be tipping my hat. That would be
giving it away, huh?
You make a good villain and a good
for the Bond Experience. David did a skit where we did this whole skit, and I did play as Oddjob, so that was a lot of fun. And he's fighting me as James Bond, so that was fun. Like I said, check it out on the Bond Experience. It is something. You go back on some of his videos, you'll see me on there.
Eric, can you tell us about Dispatches from Elsewhere? I watched the trailer. Yeah. I am so excited for this. Is like a series 2020. This is fresh off the presses. Would you please tell us about your involvement in Dispatches from Elsewhere?
Yes. Okay. So,
and wait a sec, Eric. Let me just say one thing. Because there was a rumor going around. It's not dispatchers, it's dispatches, guys. Yeah. I'm not kidding.
Because there was another show called Dispatches or something, and like you said, PJ, it was like a hospital.
It was like a reality, like ER paramedic thing or something.
Eric isn't killing anybody. At least we're not sure yet. We're not sure.
Like, how do they get into the hospitals?
Believe it or not, Dispatches from Elsewhere is shot here, all in Philadelphia. So if you want to get a chance to see the really spectacular, why people love coming to Philadelphia, they show you all the really amazing sights of what it is to be in Philadelphia. Dispatches from Elsewhere is a unique series. It's basically about the human conditioning and humans, we everyday people. Without giving too much away, it's not for everyone. It's one of those shows that for some people, when the first episode hits, it takes right off and you're hooked. For some people, they're like, oh, I'm a little confused. I don't understand what's going on. Well, that's fine. It's not for everyone. But for it's picked up a major cult following, fan following, and people are like, wow, they're really bought in. I was basically casting agency reached out. They liked my look when they saw my IMDb stuff, and they were like, "Oh, we like you to come in and play as an executive." I go in, and the next thing I know, they're telling us, "Oh, well, we're going to have this actor coming through, and you guys got to do this, that, and the other." And we were like, "Okay, no problem." It's Richard E. Grant. He comes in, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "It's Richard E. Grant," and so we're doing scenes with him because I'm not
Sally Field, right?
Yeah, Sally Field's in it. Andre 3000's in it. And so it's a nice cast. So basically, I'm in at least a couple episodes, and they liked what I did. They asked me to come back. I was like, yes. They were like, okay. And so it was a great experience. And the fact that I'm on there, I'm like, wow, this is. And then I did.
I'm gonna put up some. Eric, 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to interrupt you. I'm gonna put up some images of Dispatches. And Katie's just going to say goodnight to you because she has to leave.
Yeah, sorry.
Bye, Katie.
Early at 2 a.m., so I have to pop out. But this was so much fun. Thank you for answering all of our questions. And I'm going to watch the rest of this when I get up early in the morning.
Okay. Aww. You get some rest.
Thanks. You guys are awesome. Love you guys.
Bye, Katie. Thank you.
Bye, Katie.
Thank you. And let me just the chat. I'm going to get to. You guys are being very generous. Thanks for all the support. I'm going to get to the super chats in a sec, guys. Go ahead, Eric. Let me just. I'm putting up a few pictures. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I forgot what you were asking. What was I saying? Gosh,
we were discussing the show and all of the different actors and episodes.
Well, yeah, like I said, again, working on the show, I had so much fun. And without giving away anything, you have to watch the series. Once you start watching, for those who are hooked, once you start,
I'm hooked already, dude.
Yeah, you put it down, and you're going to be like, "Oh my gosh!" But like the again, it all comes together by the end of the movie. I mean, by the end of the movie, by the end of the series, you'll have a good feeling. I'll just say like you'll feel good about yourself.
It appears to have that movie feel, because I remember watching like the commercial for it, and it was one of those like, is this going to be something that does end, or is it just it's not episodic? It's going to be like movie-ish where you have to watch the whole thing.
Well, again, without giving anything away, when you start watching, you'll understand.
Okay.
To me, I think about it as about the human conditioning. It's about every day. It's about us. It's about us. And when you watch it, you'll see what I mean by that.
Are we allowed to play the trailer?
Yes.
Because that was kind of what I was hoping for. I was kind of gunning for that. I would love for people to see that, because this is a big project with some really big stars, and Eric is going big here, guys. This isn't messing around.
And believe it or not, the season.
Business.
Yeah, they already finished the season, so yeah, definitely, it's already on video. I know it's on demand, so you could definitely check out all 10 episodes.
Yeah, and we're allowed to show the trailer on the IMDb, right? So can we cue that?
Can we show the trailer?
I don't know. That's
I think we can't, Raquel.
We can't. Not even like 7 seconds of it. It's
so
excellent.
I don't know if you can, but
I can show a few. I can show a few stills of it.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
We could probably show the connect or the link or something, but it is out. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching Jason on Colbert, I think, discussing it and how excited he was for it. So
yeah, he's great in it. He's great in it. He really is.
Congratulations, Eric. You are so deserving. I am so proud of you. This is just another feather in your cap. It's another award to put on your chest, and well earned, well deserved. Congratulations, sweetheart.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It really, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it. I mean, it's something that, like I said again, and it's more to come. But it's one of those things that I'm like, wow. I'm just like.
Are you finding, Eric, that you get to do a lot of things in Philadelphia, or have you actually gotten to fly out to do stuff? I mean, other than the wrestling, where you were traveling a lot, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like staying at home in Philadelphia and working there? Or do you want to be, hey, call me out to New York or LA or something?
I'm always game for anything. At this point of my life, when I did dispatches, basically, I have leave. I can, use it. Basically following my dreams. I don't let anything stop me. When I was younger, it was always that fear because it was uncharted territory. I've gotten to a point now in my life where I'm like, well, anything that comes my way, I'm going to take it. And I'm not like, again, you only have a certain amount of time on the planet. I'd rather leave my mark and have fun.
Yeah.
I think we get to a certain age, and we get to that 50, and it's like, okay, we're just going to yes to everything. Just please, just whatever you want me to do. That's how I ended up here, I think. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll show up and do a panel. Why not?
Right. Because I might be doing, I like I said, I was on tour with Wizard, and I was every other weekend I was going to Vegas, or not Vegas. I was going to New Orleans or going to Seattle. So every other weekend I was traveling, and even for when I was doing like right now, I once everything settles a little bit more, I'm supposed to go out to Cali to do some film work for Surge of Power. That's a film series that I appeared in the sequel. Surge of Power, the sequel, is about the first gay superhero, which features so many different celebrities, and basically coming out because now they're doing now, the producers and director are doing now these other films that are connected. It's like creating a universe for it, and so it's really cool. Very.
That's
cool.
actually cool. I just went to that website. That looks really interesting.
Let me just say real quick, guys, and I apologize, Eric, because I'm not used to the super chats. We've never had them before. Let me just say,
I love Ricky's his picture. That's awesome.
And please sub to Ensign Ricky's channel, guys. And I'm gonna sneak in these super chats little by little. Okay, guys. Thank you for your support, guys, and thank you for cheering us on. It means a lot that actually it means a lot that we had our first super chat day here with Eric to me, because he's such a nice guy.
Yes.
Eric, I wanted to ask you. I didn't want to put up the trailer because I think we can't, but I wanted to ask you about how you met. How did you and Aaron Eisenberg meet? Because I know you guys were friends.
I met Aaron. Let's see. Woo, we're talking about maybe 2009. Yeah, 2009. So Aaron, I wish I sent you some pictures. I met Aaron in 2009 here in Philadelphia. We instantly clicked. We became really good friends. We're hanging out a lot. Anytime he would come in the city. And it was funny because the pictures we would take, because my height next to his height, he was either putting me in that. We hung out. We've had dinner at my brother-in-law's restaurant at the time when my brother-in-law had his restaurant down in Center City, Philadelphia. We basically hung out and everything. Aaron was going to be coming here to Philly for Great Philadelphia Comic Con. We made all these arrangements. We were going to have a big thing here. And so I had I had breakfast with him and his wife when I was at Star Trek Vegas. We got a chance to hang out because I hadn't seen him in a while. And anytime I would come over to LA, and I would always call him and say, hey, I'm in town. Whether we got a chance to get together, I always kept in contact with him. And when he passed, it kind of took a lot of us off guard. And so it really put me in a little slight depression. Because now and then I go through that depression mode and everything. And so I wanted to find a way to show my tribute to him. I wanted to find something to tribute to him. And at the time, a lot of people wanted to push the Captain Nog, and I support the Captain Nog movement. And so when I was working on doing the Orville Planetary Step fan film, and I was like, I wonder how cool would it be if I named the ship after Aaron, call it the Eisenberg. And I remember talking to someone about it, and they were like, you know what, that'd be a great way to show a tribute to him.
And it's a nice way to also tie in other fans of other shows together. Yeah. So you have a connection between Orville and Star Trek. Right.
Because I remember appearing on Aaron's show, Seventh Rule, because Ryan Husk is one of the hosts, and along with Sirach Lofton played as Jake Sisko. And I remember getting a chance to be on their show. We all were talking about our love for Trek and everything else. So it really bummed me out. I mean, I was really bummed out. I really felt bad for his wife and everything. So during the time, basically I was putting this together. I was letting Ryan know, hey, I'm going to name the ship. I told Melissa, his wife, I was like, I'm going to name the ship after Aaron and tribute to him. And so it basically was a nice way. And I mean, the thing was that really, like at the end of Planetary Step, the pilot episode, there's a line at the end, and it's a real emotional moment for me. Every time when I see that scene, I kind of get a little bit like, to hold back the tear, because again, it really sends it home.
Right.
And then even in the documentary, I did a tribute where, we had a picture of Aaron having me in a headlock. Every time we've gotten together, we've always done something crazy. So and it was.
I've seen that picture, by the way. Do you have it with you?
Which one?
You and Aaron with a headlock?
The headlock one is in the documentary, and then hold on. Let's see if I can find it.
Isn't it funny, Eric, how like 20 years ago you would have had that in a photo album, but now if somebody asks you that, you don't have to go upstairs and find it in the coffee table tucked away. Now it's just on your phone.
Because most of it is either floating in the cloud, and so that's always. In fact, I'm gonna try to send it to you. That always is something when before, like you said, like 20 years ago, if you told me, yeah, you're gonna have your pictures, you will never have to go through your photo albums. And I'm like, yeah. Matter of fact, here it is right here. Yeah, you never have to go through your photo albums. Here, yeah. Matter of fact, I'll send you these pictures right now.
It's very sci-fi, right?
Awesome. I will put them.
Yeah.
It's so
And
sci-fi.
let me just say, Bird of Prey, thank you for the congratulations. You are a good friend, and people, please sub to Bird of Prey's channel. Let me put it up there.
But I'm gonna send it to you right now. But yeah, and it's something because again, hold on, let's see. 1 second. Here we go. Let me see. Oh, okay. There we go. Technology, man. Technology, everyone.
Awesome. Let me put it up. Okay.
Hold on, here we go. I'm sending you two, actually.
Okay, great. And guys, listen, Bird of Prey is a friend of the channel, and he's almost at 2K. He just needs a little bit more. So everybody, please sub to
Kapla. Kapla.
Yes.
Kapla.
To the Big Bopper. Go to the
And
Bird of Prey.
Bird, I got Klingon pictures of Eric to put up in a little bit.
Yeah.
Back earlier in the chat, we actually had we were discussing when we put up the Kingpin picture that a Kingpin Klingon would be a fun combination you could do in a show if you wanted to do a fan fiction like that.
Someone's going to beat me to the front. You don't know. Cosplayers are very creative, and when they hear stuff like that, you just gave her.
I just gave out away. No, but you could put it on film, though, Eric. It's something that you can do.
You just gave an opening now. Watch what happens. You're going to have someone, yes, I'm cosplaying Kingpin. Everybody's like,
I would like $1 from whoever does that, just to let you know. I'll take
watch what happens. You're going to be like, wow.
I know exactly where I put it.
I'm going to be like, that's awesome. Matter of fact, hold on.
All right, let me see if I can put that up. And I got to tell you, Eric, I've never had so much fun with anybody and all the pictures they've sent me.
Right?
Yeah, you have some great
amazing.
pictures.
We're not even going to get to them, but there's so many that are awesome.
So I was going to ask a question. You haven't done any female impersonation cosplay, have you? Do we have any pictures?
Gender. We call it gender.
Yeah.
Yes. No, there was a character that I really liked. It was a female character I liked, and I said I would love to do a male version. What character was that? Because I liked her character. Oh, it was Garnet from
Steven Universe.
Yeah, I want to do a male version because I love
that.
Garnet.
Would be cool.
So first of all, I love the show. Steven just reminds me a little bit of me when I had my curly hair and all as a little kid. I always loved that show. And he was just something. Again, that show is
that's a good picture.
There's something innocent about him, and then he gets older and everything, like the newer episodes and all. But Garnet, to me, the character, I love her character. She was just very like, Steven, you got to do, and she was like rather mothering and all. But I just loved her character, and I was like, you know what? I want to do a gender swap version of her because she's a cool character. She's a very good character.
Well, I was going to ask what superhero female that you would cosplay if you had a chance to, that we could get a picture of you doing, and I think I definitely think Garnet is a superhero. So you answered that question.
Garnet definitely. I would do it in my sleep. I just got to get a good afro wig and all. Yeah, I would do it in my sleep.
And you've got the voice down. You could do a voice acting. Do you want to do voice acting as well? You've got the puppets. You said.
Oh yeah, I definitely. I got offered to do. I did something for the series called Black Sands. I did some voice work for that. Basically, yeah. If the opportunity for stuff, I'm always. Listen, if it's dealing with pop culture, pretty much I'm down for anything. Whether it's background, whether it's foreground, whether it's in makeup, out of makeup, in costume, out of costume. Pretty much, I'm so game because again, I grew up in the 70s where you had Captain Marvel, Captain America, you had Buck Rogers, you had Battlestar Galactica. You had Captain Scarlet. I mean, I'm naming stuff off the top of my tongue. Ultraman. And these are things, these are characters that help make me who I am today. I mean, these are shows that I was just like so enamored with, and I'm an avid fan. So it's like when I get to cosplay these characters, I've done so many retro characters. People are like, oh my God, I totally forgot about that. I did RoboCop. I've done this character. And they're like, oh my God, you pulled out there. Oh my God. I remember we had Rico on a week ago.
Yeah.
And I told Rico, I was like, yeah, and we talked about Battle of the Planet, and I sent Rico some pictures. He was like, oh my God, you guys really did it and all. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's one of my favorite pictures right there, by the way.
That's a great picture.
You know, nobody knows this, but I wanted to have Aaron on at Christmas.
Oh,
And then it all happened, and obviously, you know, but I was on my bucket list to try to get him on at Christmas, and I wish I would have gotten a chance to meet him.
Very sad.
Yeah, I sent you some other pictures too, me and Aaron, but it's something. And the funny thing with Aaron would always joke and bust my chops, and sometimes I didn't know whether or not is he being serious or is he being real. And he's like, "Man, I'm only busting your chops. I'm only joking, man." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." But again, it was and Aaron for someone, you know, we always, you know, for me, I was joking, a little guy, but he was a little guy with a big heart, and to me, Aaron was very outspoken, and he had no shame about telling you where he came from and, you know, how he feels and stuff. And he was very, very aware of what's going on in the world. And all. We talked about that. We had some deep conversations on that. So he was always that kind of guy that, again, he always believed in the idea of defending the little guy, as you know, as they call it. He was someone with a big heart that defended the little guy, or he felt that things need to be, there was changes that need to be made and stuff. And like I said, that was one of the things about him, man, that always.
Great picture.
Yeah. And we had so much fun. And like I said, Aaron's just a great guy overall, man. And he and I, like I said, he and I being close in age, and it was funny. Like I said, when we first met, we just automatically clicked. And anytime he was here on the East Coast, a bunch of friends, we would all go out to dinner or something and everything else. We've been out here a couple times for dinner and all. So yeah, really great guy. Really great guy.
Ask a question.
Go ahead, Rico.
I just wanted to say goodnight to Max World Entertainment. I also wanted to say thank you to Ellie. That was very kind of you. We really appreciate it. You just sent the whole chat into overload here. It's such a great tribute to Eric and to this channel. Thank you so much, Ellie. And thank you to everybody else who contributed as well.
Yeah, let me just give a really quick. Let me just get through this one sec. Thank you, Adega. Thank you, Adega. I don't even know what to say about how you support me all the time and all of us, and all the other channels, and author Adega Outlaw, doctor and author Adega Outlaw, and I will put your channel up as I. Let me just put this picture up, and okay. You guys are gonna see yes, Troy, as a Klingon. As a Klingon with Aaron.
Oh,
wow.
There you go.
Unbelievably good. Excellent.
So, let me tell you about this picture right here. What happened was, so at the time, Aaron, like I was coming to Vegas for the first time for Star Trek Vegas last year. So I was joking with Aaron because Aaron's always in makeup. And so I told Aaron, I said, well, look, I'm going to do something where I think you're going to appreciate what I'm going to be doing. I said, but you won't recognize me when I come up and see you. So I was like, I trust me, you're not going to recognize me. And sure enough, I'm walking in the hallway. What does Aaron do? Aaron walks over. Hey, what's up, Aaron? I'm like,
oh,
he didn't recognize you. He said, I don't recognize your big self anywhere. And I was just like, oh my God. So we got like right there because he was heading on the floor to do a sign-in, and I was heading, I think I was ahead of him, but he saw me and he was like, hey, what's up, Eric? I was like, God darn it. But yeah, we had to pick a picture there. I said, dude, we got to get a picture right now. I said, you got me good on that. But yeah, that was one of the last ones we took together, in fact.
oh.
It was I think, because
Sad.
Yeah, it was one of the last ones we took together.
Yeah.
Now I think about it, yeah. There was one other picture we took, and I think I sent it to you, and it was before I got in makeup, but this was like one of the last ones we took together.
Let me see.
I'm so sorry for your loss. I know that everyone who he was really close with, he was an outstanding friend to each and every single person. And I can just imagine how dynamic the two of you must have been together. You probably could have had your own comedy show like Martin Short and
well, Aaron, you know what? Aaron was like that with everyone. Aaron was, if he was cool with you, it was like Aaron just made you feel like he made you feel comfortable. If you ever watch this show with the guys and all, Aaron was always bottle laughs, and I was just always tuning in just to see what he was going to say. Crazy, you're just sitting there like, and he had great stories to tell throughout his, during his career, and he was a good storyteller also to talk about certain things that happened with him and all. So and like I said, his the things he went through and everything is really inspirational. The fact that he still carried on and did not let that discourage him, and he still kept going forward to be inspirational and to be active and everything was really, other people need to follow that example.
So I think you're doing a good job of trying to keep that going.
So, I think so too. Yeah. I think that you are an outstanding individual, and I'm so sorry that you've lost your friend.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears here and let's talk about your latest project. Let's talk about this Orville sensation that you are creating all over the internet. Let's talk about this. I want to hear more. Let's tell the chat as though they know nothing about this, because I want everybody to be a part of this project and to come forward and support it. So can you pitch it for us, Eric?
Especially so that at the end we all want to go and watch it right away after this.
Yes.
Orville, Planetary Step is an Orville fan series that's basically taking place within the season 2 era of the Orville. Basically, it's about another crew that basically has no connection to Orville other than they're all serving in the Planetary Union, and it takes place in the same universe, but with different problems, different situations, new characters, and just as funny, just as deep, just as moving, and everything else. Hits all the beats of the Orville. It's paying basically. It's a fan series from fans. And the thing is with my series, or Planetary Step, is basically we just announced the main cast today, and basically we did a pilot. I did a pilot short. It's actually the first episode, but it's the pilot episode. And it's called The Planetary Step. And what happened without giving anything away, my character, David Gerald, I basically curated the name David Gerald after both my brother's middle name, David Gerald. Basically, David Milton Gerald. That's his name. And so it's a combination of all my brothers, including myself, are middle names. And so basically, it's in the beginning stages when he's a hero during the Kalon attack. He was a hero. He saved an admiral or two, and he was one of the heroes during that time. And at that time, he was a commander. He's a first officer. And a lot of people have been pushing him to be a captain for years. Think of it like Riker, everybody wanting Riker to be a captain. But Riker is like, I'm not ready to be a captain. And David has been contemplating but he had a father that basically was in the hierarchy, and he basically pulled a lot of strings for him in the past, and he didn't want that this time. And he's always worried that, is this a father influence or is there something more? And he has doubts within himself, and it takes certain friends of his to convince him otherwise that served with him. And so this was a labor of love because of the outstanding response I've gotten through the Orville community, people who have never seen the Orville, who are now watching the Orville because of this, really spoken volumes to me. And when I have certain executive producers looking from the Orville, looking in our direction, saying, "Hey, good job," and they like the poster, I hope I'm pronouncing that. Constantino asked if he can debut our poster for A Planetary Step. I was like, oh my God, yes. I'm a big Seth MacFarlane fan, and I respect Seth because he, like me, did Star Trek fan films. He did fan films. He comes from my generation where his humor is the same, and we come from that same era where we, there's little nods he gives to a lot of different things that we grew up on. And so when that was a major influence to me. Plus, it paid a lot of respect to Next Generation, the Star Trek, and everything else. And there was so many beats that I love about the Orville that I wanted to do my own story. So I sat down, wrote a treatment, reached out to JP from Egotastic Fun Time to get his input, asked him could he make an appearance as one of our supporting cast members. He said yes. He gave me his input. We put together the dialogue. Brian Terranova helped write the story script. We basically put it together, and Jason Richardson from J1 Studios helped film it. And voila! I mean, again, we had Joe Colton, who was one of my main cast members, who's one of the supporting cast members, who came aboard. We knocked it out the ballpark. We hit all the beats. For myself, I'm like, well, okay, maybe we can do this into a series. And because of the fan outcry and a positive outcry it was, and everything, they were like, oh my God, we want more. One of the critics, it was a film critic, basically Mark Lee, and he said, I gotta say, the only bad thing I can say about this is it's too short. And that was the major thing. Everybody was like, oh my God, it's too short.
You guys did it perfectly, though, because everybody does want more.
Right. And sometimes less is better. So I came to a decision that I'm going to do this series. The series will be anywhere between, every episode will be no more than 10 to 15 minutes long, no more, no less. But it's going to be at least 8 episodes with little mini vignettes, as I call them, planetary shorts, which will be little vignettes in between episodes. So we got one coming up featuring one of the new main cast members, played by Jamila Howard. She's going to be our head navigator, but she's also the person that designed one of the main people that designed the USS Eisenberg. So we're going to introduce her character. We're going to be introducing all the main cast. So there's going to be a lot of things coming up. I've already been working on treatments. It's like basically the writers who I've been talking to about what I'm putting together, they think it hits along the beats of the Orville. And I just want to stay as true as I can to the Orville by doing our own thing, but staying true within that universe and paying homage to Seth, his cast, and his crew for all the hard work they've done these last 2 seasons. And also, it's a filler until we get season 3 of the Orville. So this is a great way to show. So at the same time,
let me just sorry, Eric, if I could I just want to recognize and thank Ellie for being so generous. I think that I think that our Katie and Raquel have a lot to do with a lot of the success of Wednesday nights. And I just want to thank I don't know what to say. Ellie. I thank you for your generosity. Ellie doesn't have a YouTube channel. But thank you again, Ellie. Thank you very much. And
Your
I think
appreciation is just so cool. You are such a cool person, and thank you very much. And as I said earlier, what a great tribute to Eric, who is such a wonderful showman and who brings so much energy and so much talent and such an interesting and totally cool resume to this chat. To the whole team, thank you, everyone, and thanks in chat today. Anyway, you were saying, Eric, so we're nearly ready for this next installment, and everyone was really stoked about this last one.
The first one was
where
really
can
good.
we go and is the date nailed down? And we got to start following your channel. Can we pump up that exact address where we can go and get that second installment? Because many of us, we need our fix.
And watch the first one if you haven't.
And also the making of a Planetary Step. Basically, what's happening is because of what's going on right now in the world today, what's going on right now, we had to think 5 steps ahead. So I basically wanted to do some vignettes to get something out there. So we're looking to film soon when things are a little bit more easier to film, which is not going to be that long for us. I'm just trying to find the right time to do it and all. But I also believe in the idea of attention to detail, making sure that things are accurate. The thing is with me is that everybody in my cast was required to make sure that They got the uniforms. The uniforms I'm working on props right now. I have a 3D printer person that's going to be doing the 3D printing stuff for props and everything. And then at the same token, to the uniforms, we want to make sure we stay as accurate as we can to the series. So again, there's certain things that I wanted to have. Our FX designer, or what we're going to be doing for the vignette, for the new vignette that's coming out. There's a couple of things that we want to do to make sure we give you guys something to be able to say, okay, it was just, we want to do, the whole idea is we want to get better and better. We don't want to take a point where we're just doing it justice. And at the same time, we're giving you guys something to look forward to. At the same time, influencing others to want to do Orville fan films. Vance Major, who was one of the original first who did the first Orville fan film, he and I can say this, he's going to be one of my supporting cast members. He and I have been talking about collaborating because he and I both have done our Star Trek fan film.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so he and I talked, and I know he's surprised because I told him I was going to make the announcement next week, but he's going to be one of my cast members, and he and I have been talking about collaborating because I wanted to pay respect to him because I didn't know that he and I were friends for quite some time, but I didn't know he did an Orville fan film until recently, right before I was debuting mine. So when I found out, we were like, hey, dude, we got to work together. We got to, and he was like, dude, I'm on board. Let's do something. So I'm like, well, dude, I got an idea that's perfect and everything else. So he ordered his uniform and everything else. So we were like making sure that when we put out our next installment, that we stay true to the Orville, where the fans will be pleased. We don't mind taking critiques because that's how we're going to be a better show. I don't believe in the idea of a negative critique. People are like, because sometimes people are over opinionated. I don't mind that because I'm old enough to understand that you can't please everyone. You can only do the best you can. Yes. And I don't worry about that because, again, I have thick skin. I don't let little words hurt me and all. If anything, I turn a negative into a positive. And most of the comments, everybody has been gracious.
I was going to say, I think
you're very positive.
And I think the Orville Nation itself is one of those kind of people that we want to encourage. We don't want to tear down. So,
and I understand, there's been things happening within fandom that, and some people have the right to feel the way they feel. And I mean, there's things I'm like, I want to like this, but God darn, would they stop doing this, that, and the other? And again, I just want to be able to tell stories without any kind of political agenda or anything to wag my finger at people or all. I just want to be able to tell stories like I grew up on and everything else. And if I have
we learned this from you with the Doctor Who stuff too.
Right. So and if I learn, if anything, right. And if there's anything undertone, I'm like, I have to think on it and say, oh wow, you guys, I see what you did. Then that means I did a good job because I'm supposed to make you think.
I don't want to shove it down your throat. I want you to think about it and learn from it yourself.
Right. If it's at the surface, people are going to be like, oh God, another. And again, people are sick and tired of that. People just want to be able to get away and watch good sci-fi.
Yeah.
Period. And so, and there's nothing wrong with being able to send a message, but do it in a way where it's not like we talked about. It's not jammed down your throat, but it's in a way you're like, oh snap! Whoa.
Yes.
I like when you have to go and learn and go find out that, was that real? Let me think about that. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Eric, if anybody in your cast would like to come and sit down and have a panel with Orville Nation, I want you to know that as a professional broadcaster, I will make sure that we uphold the highest standards of radio and television broadcast. And Orville Nation is such a great community with wonderful people with a great positive and kind messages. And I think that our viewership would be tickled pink if you and your crew would come and just field the chat and just talk about this amazing project and all of the wonderful things you're doing. It would be a great honor for Orville Nation to do that.
I was planning on talking to PJ about having, because I made the announcement today of the main cast, having some of the main cast appear on Orville Nation, probably in another week and all, because also we're going to be, next week we're announcing the supporting cast members.
Okay.
There you go.
It's so we have 5, not including myself, we have 4 new main cast members, and then we have the supporting cast. The 4 new cast members. We have William J. We have Adia Moran, my wife. We have Kelly Davis. We have also, believe it or not, his name is Magnus Hammerhand. And so these 4 individuals, we have a first officer, we have the head of engineering, we have the doctor, we have head of security, we have the navigator. So basically, we have our crew, our main crew. And so it's going to be interesting. It's a supporting cast. It's a nice dynamic. Who we're announcing as some of the supporting cast members, people are going to be very surprised, happily to see who we got as our supporting cast members.
And guys, the YouTube channel that's posted here for Eric's YouTube that's the exact link also to the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
we're going to be. It's
are you
really
saying the trailer or the pilot? We talked about this last
time,
PJ. Is it the trailer?
I know. I'm sorry. No, this is the.
Let's get it all down.
Get them all.
No, this is the teaser. The teaser.
Wait. Is that the teaser, or you're talking about not the actual pilot episode? Correct.
It's 20. No, it's not the actual. It's 21 seconds.
Okay.
See, this is why I brought it up. We got to get them all up. Everything available has got to get posted, folks.
Yeah, everything
Eric,
is on there. We have the teaser. We have the actual.
Can I play the teaser, Eric?
Yes, by all means, please.
Okay.
Go for it. You have my permission to play anything of mine on your channel. I have no problem.
You're the best.
Awesome sauce.
Okay. Well, you guys can keep talking because I need to put it up a second.
But no, like I said again, it's something that we want the fans to get the chance to meet the cast. We feel that it'll be a lot of fun to see all the cast members. They're all excited because I announced them today on social media and all. And the way we're bringing these characters in, it is going to be very cool.
So this is a different ship. Is it a bigger or a smaller ship for our audience?
Ship. It's a smaller ship, smaller than the Orville, but tougher than the Orville.
Just like Aaron. Just like Aaron. Smaller and tougher.
Exactly. And so, but when you find out why the Eisenberg is made or was designed, you'll understand. You're like, okay. And so it's something when you can put all that together in that little bit of time. And again, I have a great crew. I have a great production crew with Jason, Jace, Brian. We have 2 different Brian. Believe it or not, I got 2 Brians who are writers. Brian Lessig, and I got 2 Jasons behind production. That's Jace from Knockout Productions, and you got Jason. Both of them are Jasons, and from J1 Studios. And I'm just like, well, how the heck that happened? You know,
it's from our generation. Those were the big names during that time frame. It's like Jennifer. Jennifer's going to be that age group there too.
I have to interrupt you because in order for PJ to play this for our audience, he's going to have to mute all of our microphones. So chat and panel, we're all going to go a little bit silent here, and we're going to watch this beautiful video. If you have any questions, please post them to the chat, and we're going to stay quiet until the video is done. Thank you, and here we go.
Thank you, Raquel. I appreciate that. Okay. And sorry, guys, this is the only way I've been able to play these lately because I'm having a glitch with the interaction with StreamYards and Chrome. It should work on Chrome without me doing this, but I have to play it through the speakers of the. So here it goes. I'm just going to play that once more. All right. So, wow. Let me unmute you guys.
I was
Eric.
going to do one better. How about us showing the making of a Planetary Step? Since all these great people are tuned in, and
yeah, we'll show that. But I wanted to make sure that everyone saw that teaser. Do you want to know why? Holy moly, guys. Do you see this attention to detail that this man is talking about? You could take a white glove to those uniforms. This guy, Eric, he is an actor, a director, a producer, a former pro wrestler, a guy who's out in his community creating leadership and goodness, but he's also smoking at cosplay. He is the king of cosplay. These costumes are better than what you see on the set. This is amazing work. Keep your eyes peeled.
So, yes, absolutely. Eric, do you want me to go ahead and play the making?
Yes. You know what? This is a way of thanking everyone who's contributed to Orville Nation. It's a way of saying thank you, to give you guys an extra oomph to make you want to watch after this, to watch a Planetary Step pilot episode. So, yeah, we want to share the making of, so you can see the process of what we had to go through.
Great. Ensign Ricky, awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. I am going to put up, I'm waiting for the Orville spinoff Union Outpost 7. we were asking on Latchcombe, we were talking about the possibility of Orville spinoffs in the next few years. So, and I'm going to put up, Ensign Ricky's channel in the chat in a brief second. So thank you, Ensign Ricky. Okay, so I'm going to mute you guys again, and I'm going to go ahead and play this. And let me just remind everybody that so we had Joe, Eric, and Jason, who's the director, on briefly. And so yeah, it would be great to get updates whenever you feel like it. This is your home, Eric. You can come and give us updates because we're thirsty for Orville fan film. So
well, we're going to be I'll probably be talking about bringing some of the cast members maybe next week.
That would be lovely. That would be a great honor for us, and bring your people. And as I said earlier, we will maintain the highest standards of broadcasting. We will have such a great panel, and we'll be able to showcase this wonderful project in the true spirit of the Orville and Orville Nation.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you, Raquel. Okay, guys, I'm going to mute you, and let's see. Raquel, how was the sound last time we played it? Was it okay? Could you hear okay?
It's perfect. It's a perfect volume.
Okay, great. Thanks.
The reason why I wanted to do an Orville fan film, Seth MacFarlane was a huge fan like me of Star Trek. He even did his own Star Trek fan films, which I thought was awesome. The fact that he was able to put a show together to pay homage to The Next Generation and a lot of other sci-fi shows. So to be able to collaborate with all these great people, I had
We're playing with puppets?
Sorry, guys. Can you hear me? Oh.
Hi, we're back.
Oh my God,
my God.
you're not muted anymore.
I got booted and left everybody muted.
Yeah,
Yes, you did.
and I lost sound because I couldn't hear
Public were
anything.
invading the whole nine, man. It was kind of getting crazy over here.
I missed all the
Booted and
puppetry.
muted.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna play it, guys. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It happens. Hey, this is why we have such a cool fan base here.
That's
They
okay.
understand. Things happen.
Okay. All right, guys. Let me put it up again. And
No.
hello, Kat. How are you? Kat, one of the producers for The Seventh Rule.
Hey, Kat.
Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody.
The reason why I wanted to do an Orville fan film, Seth MacFarlane was a huge fan like me of Star Trek. He even did his own Star Trek fan films, which I thought was awesome. The fact that he was able to put a show together to pay homage to The Next Generation and a lot of other sci-fi shows. So to be able to collaborate with all these great people. I had Joe Colton, who worked with me on my Star Trek projects and other projects in the past. I had her with John Royster, then working with my boy Brian Terranova, who I did a Doctor Who series with Legacy. He and I sat down, I did a treatment. Brian came over and we came out with a good storyline. I wanted to work with some new people. My boy JP from Egotastic Fun Time, he promoted so much positivity and he had such a love for the Orville like I do. I wanted him to collaborate with me. He knew exactly, he fit right in. He just fit right in to what the story I wanted to tell within the taking place in the Orville universe. My character, David Gerald, is basically conflicted because he has the potential of being an awesome captain, but he's conflicted from his past because of his father. His father who means well, but he steps in too much.
Well, the way that I got hooked up with a Planetary Step is because Eric Moran, the creator of Planetary Step, is a huge Orville fan. He's a huge Star Trek fan. So he reached out to me knowing how much I love the Orville. He asked me to be a part of this fan production. He wanted to do a fun, nice little story that takes place in the Orville universe. And he was kind enough to let me be part of it. He asked me to do it. I said, yes, absolutely. If it's for the Orville, I am there, whatever you need. So I recorded my parts, the role of Alex. Alex, of course, is, Dave's friend, but he's kind of the Gordon Malloy type, which pretty much is my type. I got typecast, but it's the right type, of course. A lot of fun working on this. It was Eric sent me the script. It was a work in progress at the time. He said, this is basically what it is, but I want to kind of do this. I want to kind of do that. I took some liberties with some of the dialogue on my end. I was like, hey, wouldn't this be fun to do? Or this little joke here or there. We're 1,000 miles apart. I'm in the middle of the country. He's on one side of the country. And so we practice over Skype, reading our lines to each other and practicing. And then I went ahead separately I made a recording of our conversation to kind of get the feel of what was of what our relationship was together in conversation. I filmed my stuff separately, leaving a lot of space in between, so they could get shots of me just kind of staring, listening to Dave talk. And I sent it over. They incorporated it into the final production, and it all seemed to we seemed to play off each other pretty well, even though we weren't really there together at the same time. Maybe next time. Maybe when we do a Planetary Step Part 2, which hopefully will happen someday.
So, what was it like working with Eric? This is probably like the third or fourth project I work with him. And it's always fun. It's very intense. Sometimes when you get him laughing, he can't get out of it.
We hope you're not.
Oh no, that's all there.
Considered for the big chair. Why are you giggling? Yeah, sometimes I'll misstep my lines or say something and then he can't get back. And then he's got to do this little Moz thing where he's like,
oh my God.
All right.
He's a little sensitive about his Lamaze breathing. It's fine. So my character is Lorraine. It's like the futuristic Karen. She's pretty intense, very concerned about her friend, and they then promoted me to captain.
My character in this film is Admiral Perry, and I'm moving up Commander Juro to be Captain Juro on the Isenberg. I mean, every time it's just a blast. We get together, you learn something about each other in the cast. You get the chance to expand your talents and knowledge, and especially you get to do things that you thought you'd never be able to do. You know, it was a dream that I had when we was going through high school. I met Bill, which is Eric's brother, in the drama class in high school, being involved in the play, and our friendship just grew from there. You know, so it's just really great. And then you get to do things that you thought you'd never do, and especially at this point in life, being able just to enjoy making films, enjoy meeting people, you know, and sharing in their goals and dreams of what helping the project come to life.
I'm Jason Richardson. I'm the director of this short, and I'm good friends with Eric Moran and Joe Colton, everyone involved. And Eric hit me up and was like, hey, you know, we've worked on projects together. He's helped me out with a few of my commercials and live action shoots that I've done on Cartoon Network. So like having somebody like this guy come to me and say, hey, I want you in on a project. I was like, yeah, no problems. I got you. So I came in, he was like, you're the director. I was like, word, got that. Been doing that. Do it again. I love him. I don't know where you at though.
Right here, man. Love you too, man.
You know, he getting emotional because that's what I do. I make black men cry. What?
You're only making me cry. You're only making me cry. Okay, ready?
My character in this role is golly.
I love his wife.
And I'm a hoe.
You know what? I believe that.
And as I always like to say to my fellow Orvillians, Jalo Jalong and prosper.
Wow, that's great that you guys recorded that.
I love the fact that you guys all seem to be having so much fun. And we haven't gotten you to giggle yet where it's uncontrollable. So that's going to be my goal on our next feed.
Well, you know what? It's when you're in that serious mode and you're trying to, and I'm looking at Joe and she's she's having this talk with me. And the thing is, with my cast, when I write the script and when we're working on script, we try to make sure it's somewhat parallel to their real life person. My cast members, they're basically their characters are basically molded a little bit after themselves in real life. So it makes it I get a better performance. You get a more natural flowing character out of them.
Right.
So for Joe and I are good friends for a long time. So when she has this talk and she's like, and after, and I'm sitting there like, oh crap, she's trying to make me laugh. I started
to do it on purpose.
I couldn't help it. I'm telling you.
Well, once you know how to get to him, it's kind of hard to shut it off, right?
She figured out the code. She broke the code.
Yes, you got the code.
So Eric and I need to become friends so that I can go ahead and get to that point where I can get him giggling uncontrollably.
Your director is hysterical. Your director is hysterical. How do you even work with that guy? He's so hilarious. He's a comedian. He missed his calling as a comedian, and he's a good director too. But you know what I mean? Hysterical.
Jason was a trip too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, like I said again, but we had so much fun doing it. And Jason was the one who said, look, I want to do a little making of. So we're going to probably do a little making of documentary on certain episodes and all, like to show people the process of what we had to do and everything else. So this way we can, it's a way of showing people that it's not hard to do. Once you get the ball rolling, it's like, boom.
Snowballs.
It's like, yeah. And so, you know, there's certain things I have in place, and then other, like I've had offers and other people that want to contribute, and I'm like, yeah, if we could try to get you in, I'll find a way to get you in. But it's a day-by-day thing. It's one of those things that I'm like, look, I want to keep this going. We have the attention of the crew behind the scenes of the Orville, which I think in itself speaks in volumes. That means we're doing something right. And that's why it's so important to stay true, and also making sure that the fans understand that, hey, we love it just as much as you guys are watching it and everything, and we want to do more and everything else. I mean, I'm doing so much to make sure that I stay true. We're doing research. I end up getting The World of Orville, the book, The World of Orville, just to make sure.
Just so you can keep it on,
right,
on the level.
And then that's why, like people like JP, I call him my technical advisor, because even though I'm an avid fan, he's also an avid fan. So if it's something I miss, he said, remember that episode where so-and-so happened? I'm like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And he'll like make sure that we say, we have that comical side, but we have that drama side too, that we try to keep it blended. As one person said, we hit all the beats. And
Eric, I just want to interrupt you for 1 second. Ellie is a pretty big fan. I was wondering if you could shout out to her. She has to leave. And I was wondering if you could just send her off, because, she was just so impressed by you.
Now, who's this? I couldn't hear who it was.
Ellie.
Ellie.
Thank you, Ellie. Good night to Ellie.
Thank you so much, Ellie. You rock. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us, putting up with me, hearing me talk, and everything else. I know the awesome ladies here, and PJ. I know you're like, oh, they're so great, and you're like, oh God, this guy on the show, oh my God, he's so talkative. But thank you so much for hanging in there. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you also for being a part of Orville Nation. You're the reason why people like me are doing what I'm doing, and I'm gonna keep on doing it to make you guys happy. So thank you so much.
Bounce away safely, Ellie.
And I love your icon, by the way. I love your Family Guy icon. It's so awesome. Rock.
And let me just say, guys, everybody.
How do you feel about the fact that, Star Trek?
Let me just say one thing, Raquel. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Let me just say, our Entertainment Hacker, our good friend Entertainment Hacker, guys, please sub to Entertainment Hacker, our friend in Tokyo, Japan, and we have
Konnichiwa.
There's people in here from all over Australia, New Zealand, Tokyo, from everywhere to see you. Go ahead, Raquel. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Entertainment Hacker.
Okay. It's just Eric was on a roll, and the thing is that this is so historic that I just want people to take notice. I mean, fan films for Star Trek. I've been watching Star Trek for over 40 years, and fan films for Star Trek are almost as big as Star Trek. They're so important, and I just wanted to thank Eric and shine a little light on the fact that there's a lot of pressure on him, because, on a go forward basis, Orville has the potential to become massive, as big as Star Trek. And in so doing, creating this immaculate and very ornate and detailed fan fiction, we could be talking to the person who creates that legacy in the Orville. And so I just wanted to shine a little light on that as Eric is speaking about how he's obsessive about these details and how he cares about following the canon and stuff. It's important for people to put that in context because, you know, it's a pretty big weight to carry, but it's also cool because you guys get to be a part of this chat and you get to meet this special man who one day may be the start of the legacy that we had with Star Trek. So that's why he's thinking about all those dates, peeps. Think about the dates, peeps.
And I want to kind of follow up on that, if I can, in the sense that I think one of us mentioned it sometime this week that we do have the Orville people who are involved in the show backing us up, like Eric said. And there probably are streaming this. And I was going to ask Eric if he streams some of these and goes, oh, that's a good idea. I might add that to my story. Or, oh, I liked that idea about this planet or that alien that we've been having all these conversations about for so long this week and this whole month, I think, in that sense. Where do you get your inspiration, Eric, I guess is where I'm going to come with that.
Well, a little bit from everything. I mean, again, because I'm an avid like sci-fi buff, TV show buff. So the ideas come from different areas, different like when I was talking to a couple of the people behind the scenes of these next couple episodes that I'm working on, treatments I'm working on, and I was talking to JP, for example, one of the episodes I want to do, he laughed his ass off because he was like, oh yeah, that's something Seth would do. That's something that sounds like, and I'm like, dude, I wish I could tell you guys because you guys would laugh your asses off, but it's one of those things that I really wanted to, I get the ideas and some of it's in my head. Some of it is just like, okay, how about this? What do we do this? And so I might throw an idea. JP will bounce off of that and say, well, why don't we do this? Or Brian will come up because, again, we're all avid Star Wars fans. I was reading something Kathy Kat was saying. I was trying to catch what Kat was saying. Love you, Kat. Kat, you rock. We're definitely going to talk. Like I said again, we basically all these ideas because again, you got to remember when you watch the show. Remember, for example, Mercer mentions Doctor Who. He mentions the Muppets. He mentions Star Wars throughout the first season that exists in that universe. Yeah. So right there alone, I'm like, oh, so many ideas, so many.
We can play with this exactly.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for them to announce Star Trek in the universe, and I'm like, okay, now I'm really gonna have some fun.
That's going to be scary when they do that, and I think that's one of the things we've been questioning is if they're going to mix the two together. But
you never know. But again, it's just one of those things that I have so many ideas, and again, it's like a little kid at Christmas. You have a sandbox of ideas that you want to put together, and like I said, there are a lot of other fans out there that also. I know for a fact we want to do Orville fan films, and I'm really hoping that this will set it off for other people to say, "Hey, I'm doing an Orville fan film. Hey, I'm doing an Orville fan film. Hey, I'm doing an Orville fan film," and it feels good to know that other people will be inspired by that. So the fact that I'm doing this, and I'm like, "Wow, let's see what I can come up with." So I've been pitching a lot of different. Like I said, I have titles for already these episodes. People are like, well, are you going to call it a Planetary Step? The show is going to be a Planetary Step, an Orville fan series. But each episode will have its own episode, like a title for each episode. Okay. So, again, and there's some funny titles. Just like the Orville, there's some funny titles. And like I said, again, up until we got a 2-part season finale, and then before the season finale, the 2-part season finale, we have these other episodes that are going to be introducing the characters in story. And so it's going to hopefully carry on. And here's the thing. People are like, well, how soon we're going to get it? As soon as I can get out the gate. That's why I'm going to do small vignettes.
As soon as I can leave my house.
Right. But when you do a vignette, I've done vignettes that were 3 minutes long. Boom, put it on. Boom, put it on. This is not hard. I have new uniforms coming in. So all these things that I'm putting together is like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And everyone, my team, my cast is on board. So the fact, and I've been blessed because, again, when I've done, for example, I did a Star Trek Isolation episode called Out of the Fire. And we had over 40 plus actors that came out at 4 a.m. in Philadelphia. They drove from Maryland, Virginia, Jersey. They came out 4 a.m. across the street in a parking lot from my house to go film this scene, a villager scene. And we started filming at 9. We were done at 2. And the film is out right now. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called Trek Isolation Out of the Fire. When you see it, all these great actors, and they took the time because they believed in what I was doing. Again, how many people can say they can? And again, you know, we made sure we had craft services, but everyone took the time to come out because they had fun. They had fun, and it was on the cusp of it getting hot. So again, if I'm going to do something like that, I want to make sure that people it's going to be worth their while. It's going to be something that I'm always going to say, hey, these guys are great. I always acknowledge those great actors, and I made some good friendships because of that. So again, it's important that when you do these things, the bonds you make, the friendships you make, it goes a long way. And so those are the little things that make me want to do more of these. And especially when I hit a slump for a while. I was in the slump, and I was like, you know, I was going through this whole thing. I'm like, oh man, the last one I did was all right, but I really want to do something. I'm like, I'm watching Orville. I'm loving the show so much. When Seth MacFarlane, he reposted my picture of me in my uniform on his Twitter page and said, this guy is ready for duty. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And everybody is saying, you need to get this guy on the show. He needs to be your head of security. He needs to, and I'm like this. You know, I think I'm going to do one better. I think I'm going to do my own board. How cool would it be? Huh. And then watching JP on Egotastic Fun Time and how much he promoted so much positivity within the Orville community. This is before I knew about Orville Nation also. But with JP, I followed JP for over a year and a half. So watching him talking about the Orville, and I'm like, wow, he has a love for Orville like I do. And he's just always promoting something positive, and he's always being funny about it. And I'm like, and when I reached out to him and said, dude, how do you feel about making a cameo in my Orville fan film? He was like, I'm on board. Let me know what you want to do.
And by the way, I'm going to put it into the chat real quick. Thanks, Peggy, for putting on that in there before earlier. This is, if anybody wants to get the shirt from JP's T-shirt that Eric is wearing.
Yeah.
Which we all do want.
Which I have one too, by the way.
I want it for my birthday present.
Here is when's your birthday?
November 19th. It's the anniversary of the Gettysburg Address.
Oh, wow.
And just some context on Catherine King in the chat, folks. That is executive producer Catherine King, and she is working on Project Abaddon. So make sure that you give her channel a follow. She's got her hands in lots of projects, lots of pies. But just so that our chat can have some context on this person who is patting Eric on the back and saying, you know, go Eric, and this is great work. That's executive producer Catherine King, folks.
Kat, make sure you hit me up on my DM me on my YouTube. We'll talk. You know, we talked before, but we'll talk.
Yeah, we had a good interview with her the other day.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
That latter end when she was being interviewed, and I was like, yeah.
I know, really.
Eric, can you tell us about this picture? Because I'm very curious about this picture.
Yes. Okay. This armor was designed by Nightmare Armor Studios. My buddy Sid Garrett, who is the president of Nightmare Armor Studios. And Sid, this is my War Machine, my very first armor suit. War Machine. It's all resin. Okay. Basically, when he sent it to me, I repainted it. Basically made it into my own. Had some help here and there. But really, that was my first time working with resin, working with armor, and built it from the ground up. Like, he did the armor pieces, and what I did was paint it, redo everything from the lights to everything on there. So that was like one of my first armor suits. Heavy as hell, but it was worth every moment of wearing it. I had so much fun. And as time went on, I got a modified armor suit, and I just kind of went up. But that was one of my first ones I cherished for years. And then I did a resculpt. I redid the the armor to Iron Patriot. I don't know if you have any pictures of it, but It's the red, white, and blue Captain America style armor of Iron Man. Basically, it was an Iron Man version of Captain America, and it was called the
But you got a helmet on, right?
Yeah, but it's in white.
Yeah,
helmet.
I got it. I actually got it. I got it. I think
Yeah,
I got it.
I got it.
I got to tell you, Eric, I have tons of questions, but I might have to have you back another day because I mean I have tons of questions about. But let me see. I got the one you're talking about. I think.
Now, hopefully, this is not the Civil Warrior, but we'll find out in a minute.
Oh, here I got it. Here.
He's
the
so
Iron
excited.
Patriot.
I got to tell you, if it wasn't for Raquel being here and Peggy being here and Katie, because I was like sifting through tons of footage.
It would have just been a whole bunch of pictures.
Ladies,
Like, tell me about this.
We've had really big sci-fi actors on this channel, but I mean, like Eric puts them all to shame with the amount of costume stuff he's done.
He's a star. He's a star, guys. He's just crazy. It's crazy. It's great.
We need to know if Eric can cook, if he dances, and if he sings.
Yes. Believe it or not, my high school, I was drama. Yep, that's it. That's the one.
We'll have to interview his wife for those questions, Peggy.
Yes.
I was going to say, we need to make sure the wife confirms all that.
Yeah, we'll have your wife on.
I cook. I used to do dance choreography way back in the day, and I do know how to sing. I was in gospel choir high school, and I know how to sing. If you were to say, "Can you sing right now?" I really have to stand up and the whole nine because I don't believe in.
We won't make you sing.
We will make you sing.
No. We made him do the birthday thing on the last one, and he was very good. I have to say that.
How cool is this picture? This is great, Eric.
It's amazing. The quality, the attention to detail, and the thought
so cool.
That goes into it, and this is next level cosplay.
How do you see through that thing?
There's slits under my. Believe it or not, there's slits under my eyes that I can see perfect out of. But yeah, that armor right there, like you saw the original armor, and then I went back and redid the armor, repainted it, everything. And it took me 2 weeks to do it because again, it took a lot of painter's tape and everything to get this accurately right. And of course, it was great. I love that costume. People ask me, "What do you do?" Like I have over 400 different costumes, and people say, "What do you do with all those costumes?" And all. Some of them I give away to people of like my size. I don't sell them. I give away, but then there's certain costumes that I keep that are close to my heart. Let me give you an example. I'm gonna turn this camera over. I don't know if you can see it. This armor suit right here, the 40K.
Oh, cool.
Warhammer.
Punisher?
Wow.
Warhammer.
Warhammer. The Black Legion. Again, I am an avid fan of suits and stuff like that, but I also believe in the idea that you can't hold on to everything, but there's certain things that hold close to my heart. I put my heart and soul into that. The upper armor was made by Nightmare Armor Studios. They basically, and I sent the tutorial. I posted this whole tutorial from the time I got it, when it was all nothing. There was no color. It was all resin. I had to cut it. The whole nine. I went out in my backyard, did all this work on it, built it from the ground up. This is one of my pride and joys right here. The leg parts was done by my buddy Mike Heggie. It was all foam. So I had upper body that was resin, lower body that was foam, and I had to get creative. But if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see a tutorial, and it's all the way down. All the pictures. It's an album dedicated to that suit, and you see the tutorial from the time I arrived here in my house and how I put it all together, from painting it to coming up with the idea, hooking it up. Everything, the design of the helmet, did so much research and its attention to detail. I believe in the idea, and I love it. I love it.
Eric, is that the Star Wars arcade game? I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
Play.
Yep.
So I'm coming to your house.
This was a gift given to me by a good friend of mine. And the thing was, he and I talked about how much I loved Star Wars arcade. I used to spend at least $1,000 worth of quarters growing up. Playing that arcade, to own that to own it was like a dream come true. So I love that. I love the arcade.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
I'm going to Eric's house the next time I'm in Philadelphia
Right?
to play. I'll bring my quarters. I'll be
And
like,
just to let you know, all these this glass
Welcome to the nerd cave.
glass case that you see here. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. This glass case that you see here, if whatever you can see, most of these characters I've cosplayed. Most of these characters
Wow.
you see I've cosplayed. It's hard. I know some of it you might be seeing the Skeletor right here, Mumbra. You have the
Skeletor. Wow.
Queen, you have Green Lantern. You have Black Panther. Over here you have characters like Bison. You have my world title
Good
belt.
night, Luis.
All that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm an avid, like I said, I'm an avid, hardcore nerd geek.
Love it.
Yes.
Love
And I have
it.
no shame about saying that.
No, and you shouldn't.
No, not in this day and age.
no,
You learn not-
and
you learn
that's
not
a
to care.
talent.
Yeah, you learn not to care at a certain age. You just like, well, whatever. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna have fun.
That's right.
My favorite part of going to a convention is watching the 80-year-olds cosplaying. Those are my people. It's like that's what I want to be when I grow up.
Eric, can you talk to us about this movie poster? Because I don't think you mentioned it before.
Yeah, this is my Spawn fan film choices. And this is the one that I was telling her this artwork is done by Andrea McKendrick. She's another person that does a lot of art posters for me for some of my fan films I've done. And so she did Trek Isolation, she did Choices, she did the Planetary Step. With this one, she did of the cast for Choices, and this is for my Spawn fan film that debuted in New York at Urban Action Expo, and it was a lot of fun. We had so much fun doing that, so much fun. And she did a great job. She got our personalities, our characters' personalities. These are like some of the cast members from Choices.
Wow.
Very cool.
Wow. So Troy, Troy, good night, Troy. Sorry. Eric, what is next? So what's next on the drawing board for you guys? Now there's a lot of stuff coming up for you. First of all, let's talk about your role in the convention in Philadelphia Comic-Con. You guys have to decide whether that's going forward or not, right? What's the story with that?
Right now,
situation?
it's still up in the air. We don't know yet. We're waiting to see, because here's the thing. It all depends on how many are allowed to be it comes down to the social distancing thing, how many can be in a group and all that. So it's hard to say. I can't really answer that, but as being one of the directors, you have to we have certain things in place to make sure that we're being cautious, but it also goes back to the idea that how many can you have in a confined area, convention hall, and everything else. So it's going to be a roll of the dice. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I know the owner, Christopher Wirtz for Great Philadelphia Comic-Con, is keeping his fingers crossed. We're just waiting to see what happens. But we believe in the idea of safety first. Yes. But we also believe in the idea that we want to make sure that if everything is rolling right, we got to make sure things are in place. So we should be making an announcement soon.
Yeah, if folks at home have ever watched football, and by that I mean English soccer, and you've watched Manchester United play, and you've seen people squished in together, that's what our conventions are like. This is where nerds and geeks come together, and we're thick as thieves. We're shoulder to shoulder and cheek to jowl, and everybody's in costumes. So we're going to play it smart. And we just have to figure out what local health inspectors want, and what the local ordinances are, including with the fire marshal. So we got to play it by ear, guys. It gets better day after day, and that's the one good thing about this,
Yeah, and I've been doing conventions for over 10 years, and it's bigger, and just this is going to be. I think we just needed a timeout, apparently. So next year is going to be bigger and better.
Well, yeah, I know if nothing happens this year, definitely next year, it's going to be an onslaught of Comic-Cons like you would not believe. If they lift certain things and they put certain things in place, as long as God willing, there's no other craziness that goes on,
Knock on wood somewhere, please.
Yeah.
Wood, somewhere, wood.
Knock on wood right now.
I'll just knock on the wood here.
Eric,
We had
Thanks for Cal.
we had so
Welcome.
much stuff to look forward to. We had well over 50 celebrities coming to our event. And it was going to be one of our best ones yet. So I'm really just like, wow. So again, and we were one of the few shows like on the cusp of right before they were about to ban everything and shut down.
Yeah.
Our show was supposed to take place, I think, the first week of April. We were supposed to, and everybody kept asking. We were like already selling tickets. We were selling really good. We were almost sold out, everything. And then people were like, as we were getting closer and closer, we're a month out, and we were like, are we having a show? And we were like, yeah, we're still going to have the show. We're putting stuff in place and everything else. And then when the government said everyone has to be shut down, we were fortunate enough to get a rescheduled date. That's Labor Day weekend. So we're waiting to see what happens. But for right now, technically speaking, it's going to be Labor Day weekend from the 4th to the 6th.
Be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, is there any scenario where you guys see doing Comic-Con outdoors?
There's always that possibility. I mean, anything is possible. I guess the bigger question is, what is the number ratio of how many people you're allowed to have in the vicinity?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, that they're telling you can have a room of no more than 100, or you can have no more than a room of 20. That's going to play a big factor. Whether it's outside or indoors, that's still going to play a factor because, again, social distancing. So you have to take that into effect. And how much social distancing are you going to need? And
if we can do it on like a week thing where it's like 100 people a day per week. So like 100 people Monday, 100 people 10 people.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about a 3-day event. So, you know, it's going to be a catch-22. So we got to wait and see. Yeah. You know, this is unprecedented, and we've never been through something like this before.
So I was also thinking about what Peggy said, because what if you had to make it a 5, 6, 7 day event in order to accommodate people for social distancing? Is that a possibility?
Well, that's more money.
Assuming the venue is working with you on that, of course.
Well, because you're going to have so many other Comic-Con events that are going to be taking place.
Yeah, we're right on top of each other.
Yeah, they're going to be like this.
But there's a lot going to be canceled this year.
Well, it's already a lot canceled right now. So you figure, I got a feeling that New York Comic-Con might be one. I don't know. I got a weird feeling that New York Comic-Con might not be happening this year.
No, I don't
it's
think
a
so.
lot of cons, you know, that are going on that people. And again, people. Here's the thing. And my viewpoint is, if we have a con, there's going to be on-site people that want to go because, you know, everybody has that con fever. They want to go to a con. But at the same time, you're going to have another majority of people that are going to be hesitant because they don't, you know, what if we catch something? And we always joke about this, and you know what I'm talking about, Peggy, the con crud.
Oh, yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Con crud right up the butt is something that, and it's really sad. I was telling somebody, I think I even told Eric, that I'm one of those people that always carried around the hand sanitizer, and I'm the person in the line that sits there and says, here, before you touch the talent, you have to use the hand sanitizer. Yeah. And we're advocate about that. And now you have all these people who would be like, we have to have masks and you have to do this. And conventions on a whole don't usually allow for mask wearing as a big thing on some of the bigger stages. So it's going to be an interesting life. I mean, the cosplay, yes, but I'm saying like, now you know you're all going to be a mask.
Because you know what? I mean, when we would have our shows, we always have the bags for like the celebrity bags, and so you know we had the hand sanitizer. You know how it is, Peggy.
Oh, I get about the hand sanitizer.
Yeah, hand sanitizers and all. So, and I've known a lot of celebrities who I've appeared with who are not about handshakes; they're about the fist bump, and the ones that don't mind, you know, they hand sanitize up. They're very, but again, you have a lot of different people from different walks of life. So it's now even more than ever. People are going to be less hesitant because you got to remember this, and I've said this before. People like myself who are going to be getting work to go on set, the last thing they want to do is get something, bring it on set, give it to one of their co-stars, and then that starts the chain reaction again.
That exactly. I went to a convention, and I won't name names, but we had one celebrity who wasn't taking a walk-up guest. It was you had to pay for the autograph and the time. They weren't going to just have you come up and walk. And then the person next to them, I'm trying to stay away from pronouns, was letting people come up. They were in the same show, but they were letting people come up and say hi. And it was one of those things where we had a guest who was like, well, that's just kind of rude. And I sat there and I was like, the first star is in every single scene. And this person sitting next to them, they're not. They're in maybe every other scene or every other day. Would you rather they get sick, or would you rather the other person get sick? And I wouldn't rather anybody getting sick. Please use a hand sanitizer. But and then the guest was like, oh, I never thought of it like that. And now with the coronavirus, you're like, you have to think about it, people.
Let me just say that Mando is absolutely correct that the Jacob Javits Center is being still used as a hospital. So and having been to New York Comic Con, I don't see how that's going to happen this year, really.
Well, you figure what we're in May right now, so it all depends. If you're talking, like, let's say normally the show takes place around October, I think October or late September. So you got to think of New York Comic Con normally has a year out to sell tickets before the show. Yeah. So, and the same with San Diego Comic Con. San Diego Comic Con, of course, is not happening, but normally they have a year out before they have a show because they're selling a lot of tickets. So it's kind of, I just think that this year is going to be the year that basically as someone else joked about this before, that we're going to have to bypass 2020 and just go to 2021 as a reset. Reset 2021 movies, TV shows, reset, because it's like, and of course in our lifetimes, all of us here in our lifetimes, we never thought we would run into a scenario like this. But hey, it could be worse. It could be zombies. So,
I was about to say that.
Right. Or I could be something like 28 days later. I prefer this thing going on than
versus the zombie.
or something happening where you get 28 days later. I'd rather deal with this right now. So
let me say that, Mando. The thing with New York Comic Con is that everybody is in there. Like there's so many people. People from California complain that there's too many people in New York Comic Con, which makes me think that it might have to be postponed, as Eric is saying.
Yeah.
And Kat you canceled your wedding. Oh wow.
She said postpone, not cancel. So.
Postpone. Yeah.
Kat, go ahead and get married and then have the ceremony later or the big event, because you can still go and get the paperwork done, I'm sure.
So Eric, we're gonna have. I think I would like to have you back another day to get through all the questions that I have. I think there's so much. I think there's so much to cover, and there's like there's personally a whole bunch of things I want to ask you about. So if you're willing to come back another day,
of course, it goes without saying. I have so much fun, I have so much fun here. And the thing is, I know time goes by fast. Every time when we're on the show, the couple times I've been on the show, I'm like, damn, time goes by fast. I'm looking down and I'm like, oh, it's 6:30. Next thing you know, what 20? Wait, 12 o'clock? What the hell? But no, I have so much fun with everyone. You make it very comfortable. I have the time of my life. So yes, I'll be more than happy. And like I said, I would love to bring some of the cast back to have them, introduce them to the fans of the Orville Nation.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
We'd love that.
Raquel, do you have any last question you want to ask Eric?
No, I'd like to have you back. I think that you are a rising star, especially on the internet. I can see you being as big or bigger than Doomcock. And Gary, I just think that you are kind, humble, talented, super fun. You are ridiculously fun. You're hysterical, and you don't take yourself too seriously. I love you. I think you're great. You're dynamic, and you're wonderful to have on this show, baby. Well, come on back Bring your wife. Bring your whole crew.
Yeah, because I do plan on probably when I do the introduction of the cast, I'll probably have my wife on with me. So that would be an interesting dynamic because if you thought I could talk, she is very gracious. She's the opposite of me. She's very gracious. She brings out her teacher mode. She knows how to talk to and she's like, think of My Little Pony meets Care Bears meet the Smurfs meets anything that's cute and adorable. That's my wife. I'm like,
I should have her talk to me about the My Little Pony stuff.
Well, you lit up our chat tonight, and I have to say there were so many comments tonight about what a dynamic person you are. So it's not just me who's saying, how amazing you are and pumping your tires. This is really about your rapport with people, the way you present yourself and what you're doing with your life professionally and personally. So keep rocking in the free world, baby. I'm so proud of you. I'm very happy to know you. Mad respect. Come back. The chat went wild for you.
Like so.
$100? Like just $100? Just $100 super chat? Just like that?
I don't know what to say, Eric. I mean, today was the first day we had super chats.
Wow. Well, no, first off, first and foremost, I want to thank everyone that came out to show support to Orville Nation, to all of you, basically to everyone out there. Please keep promoting your stuff on here. Again, thank you all, not just for coming out to see me, but supporting Orville Nation and anything concerning dealing with Orville. Support the show. That's the most other important thing. We want people to support the Orville, support the cast, support the crew, because again, we couldn't have this great camaraderie if it wasn't for the Orville itself, the show itself. But for Orville Nation to bring that positivity for Egotastic Fun Time and all the other great Orville fan sites and everything, and to all the fans out there, from whether you're a Star Trek fan, Star Wars fan, Doctor Who fan, Expanse fan, old school, new school, thank you guys for coming out, showing your love and support to this, and most importantly, showing your support to me, because I never thought in a million years that I would have something like this to really bring other people to come together. So that's saying a lot. I knew I was going to make it do my thing, but I just didn't know that it was going to be something like this. I dreamed about it, but the fact that it's happening, it feels great. It feels great. And most importantly, thank these awesome, amazing hosts for Orville Nation, because you guys make it so easy to be an open book, to talk about anything and everything, and not feeling, and not that I feel intimidated, but never feeling that I can feel very comfortable just talking about anything and everything with you guys. It's like you guys were just around the corner. You guys came over, we just sat down and just started talking about everything.
I think we should definitely do that when this is all over with. Everybody just drive over to Eric's house, wherever we are, and hang out.
Trust me. Let me just show this. I'm going to just throw this out there. One of the things that we haven't talked about, and you'll probably hear about this later. When we started doing cosplay and everything else, I started doing a thing to help other young and other cosplayers with my buddy, who was also part of the film crew, Lamont Abrams of Serious Photo. Lamont and I started doing photo shoots here at my house. The photo shoots became, throughout the year, a regular thing. We were inviting all these different cosplayers just to come over to get pictures done, professional pictures done, and we never charged anyone. We did this for free. A friend of mine decided to start calling it Smoke Con, and Smoke Con became a thing where it became a con itself. So every 3 times during the year, I would have Smoke Con. I have anywhere between 30 to 50 people in my house. We would set up a studio in my living room. I would clean up the house top to bottom. We have the ladies changing upstairs, the gentlemen changing down here in the basement. And we have these big photo shoots. I had to send you guys pictures, but we had 50 to 60 cosplayers of all different backgrounds. And we did these pictures for free with no hidden agenda. And I've been doing it now for over 10 years with Lamont's help.
Wow.
And it's one of those things that, again, I believe it. And I've worked and I've had some of the biggest names in cosplay here doing photo ops just for fun. We just did it for fun. So when you guys mentioned that, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that I do that also. So yeah, they call it smoke condo.
Eric, Mando says that to expect he will tag you on Twitter. Expect a promotional video from a Planetary Step for a planet on his Cats in the Shadows YouTube channel.
Thank you, Mando. Thank you, Mando. Thank you. Thank you. I really feel touched. I'm really trying to. One of the things I will say, I am going to be doing some surprises. I'm going to be talking to certain people. I believe in the idea that, hey, if certain people help me, I believe in the idea of finding a way to acknowledge them in some capacity. Ask anyone who's worked or dealt with me. I find a way to help anyone and everyone. So let's just say I got a couple surprises coming. I'm not going to talk about it yet, but I am planning on working on something to show my appreciation to everyone out there.
Knowing you, it'll be great.
It'll be great.
Ridiculous. It'll be so blown up. It'll be fabulous.
Please, somebody send me the link and reminder for it because we're going to want to do that a lot.
Oh, yeah. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. I guarantee you, everyone, the best is yet to come. But I also want to thank my entire cast and my crew, from Jace to Jason to Brian to JP to Joe to William. Oh my God, to Adia, to Camilla. Who else am I forgetting? Oh my God.
Start practicing now for the Emmy. Come on.
Yeah.
Because
really?
Again, you don't.
No, I'm serious. I want an Emmy. Come on.
Well, you know what? You don't want to feel like you're ever forgetting anyone. You want to always acknowledge, and I always try to acknowledge everyone that's ever helped me or inspired me and everything else. And there's so many people that inspired me. And then, of course, shout out to my boy Aaron, and like I said again, and also big shout out to 7th Rule for showing that love and support, and all the other great sites that have shown the love and support. The one thing I only ask all of you out there is please keep it positive within the world of pop culture. Even if it's something you don't like, turn a frown upside down. Let's find a way to make something positive. Let's get away from the negativity and more into the positivity. So there you go.
I agree. Absolutely. I want to thank our wonderful co-hosts, Raquel, Katie, and Peggy. Thank you, the three of you, so much. You make this channel very special. Thank you, Raquel and Peggy.
Thank you very much, PJ, for having us.
Oh, and what was going to say? 7th Rule, they're supposed to have Sadiq for DS9 in 30 minutes. Got to give a shout out and all that.
Oh, it's in 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I missed that one.
So,
yes.
This I had to plug him because I saw it real quick and I'm like, the corner of my eye, and I'm like, wait, Cat, let me let.
Oh,
Kat.
I didn't see 30 minutes there.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, please. Everybody head over to the 7th Rule after this.
Yes.
Eric, is there anything else you want to mention real quick, like plug for something that's imminent?
Next week, we're hoping to have some of the cast members, the main cast members of A Planetary Step, join on Orville Nation. We're going to try to see what we can do. If you guys want to see them, you get a chance to ask them some questions. We're going to have a couple of the cast members, not all the cast members. We'll have a few. We get a few on here just to be able to shoot the breeze. So again, thank you all. Thank you. Every day is a blessing to get up and be able to do what I do. And thank you, PJ, Raquel, Peggy. You guys were awesome.
Thank you, Eric, so much. We will see you again soon.
Do the chat. Thank you so much for coming here. Without you, we are nothing. Tonight, you guys brought your A game. Such a great interaction, such wonderful donations, such wonderful camaraderie and support, not only as streamers, but just as an audience and just as Orville fans. I'd like to shout out to every single person who participated with us tonight. We love you guys. And like I said, we're nothing without you. So thanks for coming.
Tyrone says he's a big fan of Raquel, too.
Oh, thank you, Tyrone. Big kiss to you, babe.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks again, Eric. We will have Eric back very shortly.
Thank you, Eric.
We will
Thanks,
coordinate.
Eric. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Tyrone, Catherine, Tink, Joe Lau, Adega, Mando, everybody who's been in here, Ellie, Adega. Everybody who's been in here, we've had a lot of people in here tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Louise, everybody have a great night. Be safe and many blessings to all of you. Thank you again. Thanks, Eric, again.
Peace and hair grease.